urge him to come forward, turn himself into proper authorities. Cooperating with law enforcement, best interest may help avoid additional charges. Now, in the video posted here, Massey also asked public figures for help, including Donald Trump, rappers Lil Wayne, and Meek Mill as well. He has accused the state of Louisiana of corruption, arguing he is being unfairly prosecuted and mistreated behind bars. Now, him and fellow escapee Derek Groves are the last two inmates still on the run.
Yeah, Derek, at least smart enough not to establish a digital footprint here and show authorities where you were very, very recently.
Yeah, but if you're well planned out here, you go to like L.A., shoot this video, and quickly you're somewhere else.
Yeah, Mexico.
He's got a very unique, like Post Malone look.
Yep, very.
And he is getting. By the way, 50,000 is the number out on both of these guys now. So if you can turn them in.
He's got a little jelly roll mixed with Jalen Brunson.
It looks like he's got some snow boots on.
I noticed that too, Tyler. Yeah. Like he took time to do a set too. Like, I'm going to get a stool out. We'll do it in the kitchen. Let me put on my jumpsuit and my snow boots.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys would agree. He is being aided and abetted.
Exactly.
100%. It looks like he's got new get-up on.
I mean, first of all, you've done this in someone's kitchen who now, as you said, has aided and abetted a known criminal. So now they are probably in the crosshairs of the police. Second of all, you've told the police where you were very, very recently.
Yeah.
You've let them know I was at Mom's house in the kitchen.
Reading the comments over there, a lot of people believing him, though. I didn't get to see it, though. Hey, we have mistakes that happen all the time.
We do.
Give him let's check the facts. Let's see what he's saying.
Hey, much like you are granted immunity if you're married, right? You can't testify against your significant other. Like, aiding and abetting, I think, should be thrown out if you're a parent. Like, what parent really is going to turn their kid away?
Great point.
I don't think it's a great point. I mean, if your kid's a known criminal, like if your kid was a cold-blooded killer.
But if he stopped by just looking for a hot meal.
Yeah, he's a cold-blooded killer. He deserves to be in prison.
It's hard to say because I don't think any of our kids are going to be cold-blooded killers. But it would be impossible to turn, I believe, my back on my kid almost in any circumstance.
That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And our friends at Champy's Chicken, bringing you the final hour here. One more point to make about sports in today's world before we tell you about that. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119. Sterling and the crew cooking up the great lunch that you expect every day from them. Brine that chicken overnight. It is cooked to order. It is so good. Don't forget the po' boys, handmade desserts right there on site. It's Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. All right, we had the departure notice of Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and Utah State, joining Washington State and Oregon State in the Pac-12.
It just sounds funny when you start
listening. 1 state, 2 state, 3 state, 4 state, 5 state, 6 state. All 7 of the Pac-12 members have a state beside them. Many of them are not really states. One more. They got to come up with one more team, but forget who the 8th team is going to be a conference. Next 10 years, who wins more Pac-12 football championships of that group? Washington State, Oregon State, Boise, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Utah State.
I think I go Boise. Yeah. I think I might go Washington State second. Well, no, the Dickert guy left and took the Wake job, didn't he?
If you did a super conference of all states and all non-states,
Ohio State would dominate.
This is you asking a great question.
No, Louisiana State, Florida State.
You're asking a great question right before the end of the show.
We can take it over. I don't think anybody's going to debate this.
Yeah, we'll take it over another time.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying. Not right
now.
Absolutely. We'll bring that one back. Until next time, don't forget Penna Grace is in here next at 12:15. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The Next Round presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Going into the weekend with a live show on a Friday and now. A lot to get to, including Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. We'll break down how that impacts the NFL race for the playoffs there. Big injury in college football that could impact the national championship race. We'll get to our 40 and 40 team, which is Oklahoma today, sliding in at number 23.
Boomer!
Todd Fuhrman joins us to talk about the big upset in the NBA last night, what that does moving forward. Bankrolling a lot of Las Vegas last night.
The Pacers will not let you go to bed. I will tell you that, man.
I couldn't believe it. Just sitting there watching, it really wasn't. And this reminded me of the games you brought up, the 25 games of the last 25 years yesterday. And we talked about, like, a lot of these, it's just an incredible ending. And really, if you watched, and unfortunately I watched all 48 minutes and I had Oklahoma City minus the 10.
Why would you not watch that?
I think for a minute it wasn't a very good game.
That's what I was going to say. It was 10 to 14 point lead the entire
time.
Yeah. There was no drama until we got under the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter, and the Pacers started making incredible shots. And I had a buddy text me, "Man, the Pacers might be as good as the Thunder." I said, "You're insane. They are banking in threes right now."
Hey, but that's the same.
I just tell you, as a guy who watches the NBA, I may watch 12 games a year. One thing I know is that in the fourth quarter, it doesn't matter what the score is. Unless they start resting the starters, there's a chance. And I've watched this. The Knicks, this was the same game one that happened with, they outscored them 32-16 down the stretch.
The dangerous thing that you said right there, and I don't disagree with you, Oak City's the better team. But I will not forget, after the collapse at Madison Square Garden, riding home, and I pulled from Odie's Trivia, I pulled the fan up on my phone and was listening, going to my house. And old boy's on there taking phone calls from, Larry and Long Island. This Tom Thibodeau guy, killing the Knicks. And the host kept saying, "Guys, this is a fluke. The Knicks are so much better than the Pacers."
See, I never believed that. I said the Pacers would win that series going in.
I know, but I'm just saying that was the same thing people were saying about the Knicks.
This team is so much better than the Pacers. They really are. And what's crazy is the Pacers turned it over 25 times on the road against the best home team in all of basketball, who had the best point differential in the last 25 years. So normally, and I was just sitting there waiting, I was like, this thing's going to go from 14 to 20 or 25 quickly. And it goes the other way. And I give Rick Carlisle a lot of credit because, and we've seen it, and they showed the graphic. It was like they were just holding that graphic waiting. But Rick Carlisle is like, play a full 48. You never know what's going to happen. And all these guys believe. And for them to just be able to continue to chip away. I do agree with you. On any given night in the NBA, 10-point leads are never safe. But when you get to the postseason against really good teams on the road and you're able to pull that off, that was remarkable, I thought.
Now, if we did correct, don't worry about TV scheduling, and it's game 1, game 2, day off for travel, game 3, game 4, there would have been a moment in the fourth quarter that Rick Carlisle would have gone, God, we're down 14. Should I rest my guys and we go at it again tomorrow night? But with the day, you don't play again until Sunday. Keep playing them. They're down 9 with 2:52 to play, and they still come back to win. But it mirrors so much game 1 of the Knicks.
Yep.
They did it in round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. The Pacers have done this in every step of the way. Do you remember Tyrese Halliburton in college?
Nope. Yeah, at Iowa State. Yeah.
I don't remember watching him play one thing at Iowa State.
Big recruit when he went to Iowa State. Three-star guy. Would not even have made our show when he. Yeah. If we were in Iowa, I don't tell you in Auburn and Alabama get a 3-star anything.
Yeah, was that the mayor? Did he play for the mayor?
No, he did not.
Okay, so he played for
TJ
Osselberg, Nate Oates guy.
And I'll give it up to Scott Van Pelt. Tyrese Halliburton joins him live on the set right there. They pull out the
Tyrese's old man up there too.
I was not in the shot, but they pull the Sports Center set out, and it's mid-court. The Sports Center set is. And so he's at midcourt. Tyrese Halliburton's putting on the headset as I show you the end of the game, blah, 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 blah. They do an interview at the end. He's like, I'm going to be honest with you. This whole card in front of me right here that I'm holding, I'm not using because it's nothing but Oklahoma City stats. This is what we had produced to do with Oklahoma City winning the game. We're live right after the game, and I've got nothing about the Pacers on this card right here. And they exchange, some pleasantries, and they dap it up. And, Van Pelt said, I keep doubting you. I was doubting you. And they have a back and forth there. I admired Van Pelt saying, you can look right here. Yep. There's not one Pacer nugget on this thing right here. It's all Oklahoma City. You guys have come in here and won this game.
You ruined our show.
We had nothing.
I was doing an interview for Lance's Lock a couple of nights ago, and I had two prop plays in the game. Obviously, I had Oak City in the game, loser. But I focused on the two main guys, SGA, and I was like, 7 of his last 8 games, he's gone 31+. I think he's going to go out there. He's playing at such a comfort level right now. His point total's 29.5. I think it flies over the number. He goes for a game-high 38. On the other side, I was like, Halliburton is really a budding star at 25, but I think he's going to struggle in game 1. He's going to press a little bit.
Yep.
Well, he wasn't a factor offensively. It was a really balanced attack, but he just stayed with it. And for him to hit that 21-footer, just ice cold.
They're one of the more fun NBA teams I've watched in a long time. I mean, they're just fun because they never stop. I mean, you cannot go to bed on the Indiana Pacers.
They absolutely have no star power.
They don't.
Siakam is obviously a really good player that's won a championship.
I think that's what makes them more fun, is I'm not watching LeBron dominate a game or Kobe dominate a game, or I'm just watching a ragtag. I mean, they're not ragtag. They're the second best record in the NBA since the turn of the calendar, right? But they're just not a star power team. This is a true team in the NBA.
So is Oklahoma City, and that's a big story in the Athletic earlier this week, is that these two are the models of where the NBA is heading. It's not Moneyball by any stretch of the imagination, but it's building 9, 10, 11 guys on a roster that sort of fit pieces and play without star power, getting away from, remember, you used to get 2 or 3 big stars. And
the Heat, the Warriors, the super teams.
You
would pay so much money for those guys, and then the other pieces were just bad pieces. So you relied on those 3 superstars, and they sort of say this is the wave of the future. So hopefully, if you like it, Brownie, this is the way the NBA goes.
I mean, there's only 5 guys on that court that are max guys, if that.
Well, in Oklahoma City, by the way, I think through the 2029 draft or 2030 draft, they've got 13 first-round picks.
Yeah, I when we talk draft, people mention that in the chat room, like when we were talking about Mark Sears and Todd Pettiford and LeBaron Fila and Grant Nelson. Like, they probably will get drafted by the Thunder because the Thunder have 1 million picks coming up.
Well, Sam Presti, learned from one of the best organizations was with San Antonio forever, and, Presti's been with the Thunder forever now. But for him to be able to stockpile those first-round picks, to have 15 of them, and you've got the youngest team to make it to the NBA Finals since 1977 in Portland.
Yeah, if I'm an Oklahoma City fan, if I'm an Oak City fan, I feel like I know they just lost game 1, but I feel like I'm about to start a heck of a run here.
Well, and you think about Presti, his ability to evaluate talent. Did anybody think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would be this good coming out of Kentucky?
You mean an MVP?
Yeah.
No.
Jalen Williams, a 3-year guard at Santa Clara that didn't even get into the portal, would be at the level he is at 25. And then Chet Holmgren, a lot of people were
I knew he'd be a star.
Did you? I thought he was too skinny.
A lot of people did.
Yeah,
a lot of people were like, he just doesn't have the build.
Yep.
And for a guy at 7 feet, is he really going to be able to be this athletic in the NBA? The answer is resounding yes.
That is.
He ran the floor really well for a 7-footer.
He did, but that was in the West Coast Conference.
And look, I know Durant is as skinny as anybody, so maybe I should not have doubted Holmgren, but I think Holmgren was Kevin Durant, and he's not, but he does not get pushed around the way everybody thought he would.
You know what's amazing is us talking about this. I really thought the Thunder would win by 25. You probably would gloss through it. We would say one thing about it, and we would be done. And this is exactly what the NBA needed.
That's
because
right.
if that happened, then I think most people get on board with me saying sweep. We had Barkley on yesterday, gentleman sweep in 5 games. Now I think people are going to tune in. Would you guys agree? If you're a casual sports fan, the way that game ended.
I think all sports fans crave a competitive series, even if they don't care about the sport. And we're in a month where there's not a ton to watch in sports. So if it's a competitive series, I'll watch the Stanley Cup if Edmonton and Florida are a competitive series.
Sunday night, game 2 for that. By the way, Halliburton has hit 6 of 7 game-tying or take-the-lead shots in the postseason this year in the last 90 seconds of games. You've seen the one in Madison Square Garden and the one last night. So that's about 85%.
Not an exaggeration.
It's not bad.
Like, I wish somebody would show the shots that he's made in this postseason, go-ahead or game winners, compared to LeBron James's career.
Oh, isn't LeBron like 1 of 31 in his career?
I mean, it wasn't good for like the last 32, but I think Halliburton in this postseason might have more than LeBron's got in his entire career.
If you like competitive, entertaining sports and you don't have anything to do tonight, Panthers and Oilers, TNT, 8 Eastern, 7 Central for Game 2 of that series. Electric atmosphere in the Stanley Cup. Edmonton won the first one in overtime. And then game-deciding Women's College World Series, also in Oklahoma City. Those were back-to-back finishes, 4-3 as Najeri Kennedy strikes out the final batter with the tying run at third base to force a deciding game tonight. That's 8 Eastern, 7 Central on ESPN tonight in those two games. So the big story that's happening here locally down in Auburn after Brownie tells us about our friends at Breakline Optics. Breakline Optics.
Yeah, Jim, it is a great Father's Day gift idea, Breakline Optics.
I had the roadies on this morning.
Did you now?
Yeah.
I wrote in with mine.
Do you have your breaking news Breakline over there?
Yeah. Let's break some news here. Great Father's Day gift, breaking news.
Now, you guys are golfers. Like, people swear by these on the golf course.
Well, they've got the different tints, and the tint I'm wearing right here is the one that's supposed to help you be able to read greens better because there's something.
Everybody can need that help, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm no scientist here, but it does something with the colors so you're able to see the grain. And if you're in Bermuda greens, the slope's a little bit better. BreaklineOptics.com is the website. BreaklineOptics.com. This is a Birmingham-based company, by the way. And Father's Day is coming up, so celebrate the legend in your life, good old dad, who taught you how to reel in the big one, sink the impossible putt, all those things with a great pair of sunglasses from Breakline Optics, a gift that dad will use constantly and will get year after year after year of enjoyment from. So give this Father's Day a gift to dad that says he's a legend, and every time he puts them on, he'll remember who made him look like the legend. Breakline Optics, where Southern spirit meets modern performance. BreaklineOptics.com. And while you're there, use code TNR20. TNR20 for 20% off Father's Day at BreaklineOptics.com. Code TNR20, BreaklineOptics.com.
And our friend Storm Restoration Roofing. So many of you have used Greg from Pell City over the years, and some of you are signed up to get that free no-cost roof inspection maybe today, maybe early next week. You can get in line and get that free no-cost, no-obligation roof inspection right now by calling Greg and Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531, 542-3531, or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. That free inspection, but also he handles storm damage, full roof replacements as your roof ages out, any roofing repairs that needs to happen along the way, and just the occasional roof inspection. Make sure you're in with Greg from Pell City. They're trustworthy, locally owned for over 20 years, A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, and just a good down-home guy with local crews that are going to stay on top of that roof that stays on top of your home forever. It's Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. Greg from Pell City there on Facebook. Tonight, well, actually today, we start the college baseball regionals. 4 games, the last game of the day, 9 Eastern, 8 Central down in Auburn at Plainsman Park, where Coastal Carolina plays Auburn, best of 3 series. Now, Auburn has never won a baseball national championship, but Coastal Carolina has. So this is a sport where blue blood or power conference doesn't always win. 2016, Coastal won it all. Betting-wise tonight, Auburn's a minus 155 favorite, plus 110 for Coastal. Coastal Carolina has won 21 straight games, the nation's longest win streak. That includes running through their regionals to get to Auburn this weekend. And they've won 51 games. They're the only team in the country with 50-plus wins, so they're a team that knows how to win. Coming in to play Butch Thompson's Auburn Tigers. Here's Butch on getting ready to play a red-hot baseball team tonight.
How do you get a team prepared for the hottest team in college baseball?
Yeah, they're a handful. The most wins, and I guess 21 games in a row. It's a real ball club. So hopefully those 10 weeks of SEC prepared us. I don't want us to change. I mean, we have an identity. This is who we are. I think the biggest mistake, number one, you could make is try to be somebody else or tailor your game too much. It's important to know your opponent, but at the same time, we can't go try to grab more this weekend. I would take the consistency with which we played last week and do that again. That's what we're trying to reach. We're trying to reach our consistent standard and be a consistent baseball team, regardless of who's on the other side. Even though we have the hottest team in college baseball, we're playing.
Okay, Plainsman Park's going to have a record crowd tonight. New expansions have had record crowds all year long. I think 7,004 and some change at the last game of over the regionals. But they got more seating in there, so it'll be a record crowd tonight. Ike Irish is their big star. He has a walk-up song that talks about birds flying. Auburn's the Tigers, but the War Eagles. So when he does, there's Plainsman
It's
Park.
not fly like an eagle.
Yeah, it's not. It's a rap. It's a rap song.
Oh, okay.
But in the thing, it's birds fly, and as you see here, best walk-up in college baseball. As the music starts playing, the dugout and all the crowd starts flapping their wings, and the whole stadium. Basically, it's almost like if you watch, was it Monday Night Raw, the wrestling? It's on when I'm playing poker. It's on at the house we play poker.
Who's
at
the
all
wrestler?
The time.
Do you know that does this?
No, the wrestler. There's one guy that comes into the stadium with arm movements as well, but the whole arena is doing it. They do that at Plainsman Park for Ike Irish as he makes his way up to the plate.
So it's like Angels in the Outfield, that terrible movie where everybody starts doing that.
Yeah. You get a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy, though, that is projected to go back to catching, an outfielder right now. But once he gets drafted, most people are saying first round, he is going to be a catcher at the next level, which is pretty incredible.
That is.
In fact, you say that. Major League Baseball's mock draft out yesterday, and Ike is 18th overall. And the little blurb it says about Ike, it says that could move up higher, and so into maybe the top 10. At that position, you're always looking for a hitter that can play that position there. There's the top 27 in the mock draft for the upcoming Major League Baseball draft, which we know happens, I think, usually right around the College World Series.
Makes a lot of sense.
Next week. And there's Ike sliding in at number 18. Another local kid. Here's what they say about Ike here. Coming off his regional where he was 7 of 14, 2 homers, 2 doubles, and 5 RBIs over 3 games.
Is that good?
Could go higher than 18. One other local guy on there, if you go and take a look, who is it? It's Steele Hall. How about that name? Steele Hall, shortstop from Hewitt-Trussville High School, right there in the 14 slot. Of course, to Tampa Bay, because all we do is draft great shortstops. So you got the local guy in Steele Hall from Hewitt-Trussville High School, but then the big star from Auburn in that mock draft coming up for Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Should be a fun night of baseball
It
down
should
there.
be. Auburn's got their hands full with this pitching staff, though. Coastal
They do.
Carolina is second nationally in team ERA with and this is pretty dang good, guys, in college baseball, a 3.22 team ERA.
Yeah. Now take that. Now I have it at 3.24, but either
Okay,
way,
whatever.
Either way, what you're saying, Brown. The other team is Northeastern. No offense to Northeastern, but I feel like Coastal probably plays a better schedule than Northeastern.
Coastal's in the Super Regionals. I'm guessing they're a better team. But
Yeah.
Lance, a 3.22 team ERA. I mean, that's something else in college baseball. So this is a good hitting team against a good pitching team.
Yeah, but it is pretty amazing that Auburn is, I'm looking at it right now, minus 152 in this matchup for a team that, how many consecutive games now?
21 straight.
Yeah.
And
they've got their one on the hill tonight.
It's Auburn's ace against Coastal's ace, and but it's a true the pitching staff. The weekend starters, Brown, are 24-3 with a 2.78 ERA. So take out the midweek games.
Yeah.
Their weekend starters are 24-3 with a 2.72 ERA. So this Coastal team can pitch.
Now, they haven't faced the lineups Auburn has. Everybody knows that.
So
but you're right. They can flat pitch.
How good is the guy going for Carolina? I don't know. Forgive my ignorance, but Carolina is minus 330 tonight against Arizona. And most run lines are minus 1.5. Like, I'll give you an example. You could play Auburn minus 1.5 runs and you get back $1.25 for your 100. If you play Coastal Carolina plus a 1.5, they lose 4-3. Obviously, you win. You're laying 145. There are so many one-run games in Major League Baseball, probably in a lot of these super regionals. But Carolina, they don't even have the run line. It's minus 2.5 runs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know who's pitching for Carolina, but the dude must be good.
Well, we get to see him because it's 11 Central on ESPN2. It'll pop up here, the final hour of our show, starting a quadruple header of college baseball today with Auburn late night being the last one at 8 o'clock, and then they flip it around for an afternoon game tomorrow at Plainsman Park. And a lot of our viewers and listeners will be part of that crowd down there.
Have you seen where they've added seats? Scott had an aerial view of Plainsman Park. It's in the right field. There's like a maintenance building out in right field that's got a roof, and they're adding seats, as Scott is showing you there. I don't think anybody's ever sat up there in a game at Plainsman Park, but they will tonight, which will make this a record crowd at Auburn's baseball stadium.
Boy, that's going to be a fun atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think weather is supposed to be good.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Typical 15% chance of rain this time of year, but a great grounds crew. So good luck to Auburn. See if they can get back there. By the way, Butch Thompson, 4 super regionals. Auburn's only one of 9 teams to have gone to 4 super regionals since 2018. So Butch has done a great job. Other than Bruce Pearl, the most successful Auburn coach in that period of time by far. It's Bruce Pearl, Butch Thompson, and the rest down at Auburn.
You'd have to say so.
Yeah, Butch Thompson does a really, really good job down there, and that's a little baseball getting you into a super regional weekend for you Auburn fans out there. One more thing to get to in our opening segment involving baseball, right after LT tells us about our wonderful friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, great place to watch these super regionals today. You can sit out on the patio, knock off work a little early, check out that Carolina-Arizona game, and enjoy incredible food from Rodney Davis. The incredible wings, delicious burgers, fantastic sandwiches, ice-cold beer buckets, live music every Friday and Saturday night. Get in and see Will Haver and that great staff. Birmingham institution, newest location in Edgewood, original location in Crestline. It's Odie's Tavern.
Okay, the question was yesterday the worst loss in Atlanta Braves history since the Braves got to be good?
It's got to be regular season. You can't go worst loss in history.
Well, I mean, yeah, but regular season.
Regular
Statistically, probability.
All those things.
I know the Diamondbacks, it was a franchise record come from behind win in the 9th inning. They've never come from 6 down to win a game in franchise history.
I've only
for the
lost one
Diamondbacks.
game like that gambling, and it was Phillies-Dodgers. I'll never forget. It was September of 1990. This doesn't happen. You don't blow 6-run leads.
Would you have a relief pitcher or a place kicker? There's a real name for both a place kicker and now a relief pitcher for the Braves, whose last name is Blewett. Scott Blewett gave up 5 earned runs as he cleaned up the 8th and started the 9th. And then another pitcher came in and gave up 3 more earned runs, and the Braves give up 7 runs, and they lose the game. Craig Kimbrell is being called up from AAA back to the Braves to try to help out the bullpen that is struggling. The Braves have lost 11 of 14, but you talk about the comeback the Pacers made last night. What the Diamondbacks did to the Braves yesterday.
Wasn't even the biggest comeback of the night, was it?
Yeah, look, I don't, the win probability stuff, I never look at it in baseball. It's more so fun in football. But it had to be 99.99999%.
Oh, I can find it. You're talking about like the in-game win probability?
That was more, if you would have said going into the 9th inning or the final 10 minutes, I would have been like, not even close. Pacers, at least, there's a crack of the door. That was vault shut.
The highest the Braves got.
I literally would have bet my mortgage or I bet all the equity in my house to $10,000.
Yeah, going into that final inning.
But it never sweated it.
Yeah. I mean, a 7-run inning in Major League Baseball is rare anyway.
Well, and especially in that situation, you might get a one-off in a 2nd or 3rd inning, hot day, wind blowing out, that kind of thing. But in the circumstances, going into a bottom frame, impossible.
Going to the top of the 9th, the Braves win percentage was 99.6%.
Yeah.
As you started the top of the 9th there.
Yeah, I'm like LT, 99.6, not enough. It should have been 99.9 at that point.
Well,
it was 99.9 at one point. I apologize for that. That's the highest it reached.
The Braves have lost 11 and 14. You can't lose any worse than they lost yesterday. Is Snicker finally the scapegoat?
Do you do an in-season move with him?
I think a couple of my Braves friends, Blake being one of them.
One of that years ago.
Well, but he thinks it's going to happen, and he thinks it'll happen soon. It's a talented roster, still got a chance to get back in it, but as we pointed out yesterday, only a handful of teams worse than the Braves record-wise. The only way you make that worse as a professional baseball player, you lose that game. It's an afternoon game. You blow a 7-run lead. Only thing to make that worse, you had to get on a plane. That's not a covered wagon or train, but they got on a plane and had to fly to San Francisco where they played a night for a 9:15 game tonight.
Well, here's the thing, and Brown's like, you still got a chance to get back in it. We continue to say that. I don't know
if they do.
When you've got the Mets that going into last night, and the Mets lose to the Dodgers, but the Mets had won 10 of 13, and the Braves had lost 10 of 13. When you got two going in the opposite, obviously, like the East seems like, and we've had crazier comes back before, but 11 down right now in the East through the first week of June, and as good as the Mets are, it's just I don't see the Braves making the postseason.
So some people in the chat room are hammering Anthopoulos, too, saying he's got to go as well. Landmine Believer, one of those, Alex Anthopoulos has got to go. I mean, it wasn't too long that this guy was getting praised, right, for how he built the roster.
Well, they won a championship 3 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
But I mean, you've got Braves fans now that have turned on the whole organization, like just clean out everybody but Acuna and a few others.
But you've got young talent that you signed long term. Everyone loved it when he signed Albies and Acuna,
and he got praised. Remember, for the patience, or what was it, or the trade after the Acuna injury? You remember that? And then they end up winning the World Series.
Yeah,
so he got praised for that.
When Acuna went out, I forgot, was it
Soler?
Yeah,
Jorge Soler.
Jorge Soler. And there was a couple of other. Who was the guy that used to play for the Dodgers? Jock Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought in these guys that there was no expectation, and everything came together. The chemistry was great, and they won a championship.
Yeah, but Acuna's been hurt, and Strider's been hurt, and the bullpen's been bad, and Snitker will lose his job sooner rather than later. And we'll see what Braves fans do as they react to that. A lot of young talent that is tied up with some long-term big contracts.
Yeah,
franchise-friendly, but relatively speaking, but long-term deals there. Football around the corner, college football. We'll get to that coming up in the next segment. Fuhrman joins us later on at 10 Central Time, starting hour number 2 with us here. Bojangles bringing you part of the show. Tell us about Bojangles Brownie.
It can be bow time for you at Bojangles. You guys love a great dipping sauce, don't you? I know I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from sweet to heat. You can get it right there at Bojangles. 7 sauces that add a little extra flavor to every bite. Nothing pairs better with the sauces than the hand-breaded tenders. So if you're looking for sweet, try honey mustard. You want some tang, try the barbecue. You want some heat, try creamy buffalo or peach honey pepper. If you're craving smooth and creamy house-made ranch, jalapeno ranch, classic bow sauce, ready and waiting. So head to Bojangles, order some hand-breaded tenders with your favorite sauce today. It's bow time.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of our lawyers. Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
It's go time, Birmingham. Your Stallions are charging into the USFL Conference Championship. Sunday, June 8th at 2 o'clock at Protective Stadium. Don't miss the three-time champs as they battle the Michigan Panthers for a shot at the UFL title. Rally the squad and get loud because Birmingham doesn't back down when it's all on the line. Get your tickets now at UFLstallions.com and let's pack Protective. It's all Sunday at 2 o'clock. Get your tickets now, UFLstallions.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation state that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Back with you on the next round. We're about to do the spotlight, college football spotlight today, and then get to our 40 and 40 team. College football just around the corner, 78 days away. SEC Media Days before that as we head over to Atlanta in the College Football Hall of Fame for that. I want to give a shout out though to, and we'll talk NFL and Aaron Rodgers after we talk to Fuhrman. And a little bit of that with Fuhrman because I'm sure the Steelers' odds have changed with Aaron Rodgers. But I want to give a shout-out to Derek Carr before we do our spotlight. Derek Carr, who retired from the Saints, did a long sit-down interview with The Athletic. And he said it just didn't feel right to him with the labrum tear that if I had the surgery, I was going to be sitting. If I played, I was going to be hurting the team. They didn't need that. And I didn't want to just have the surgery and sit there on the IR and take the Saints' money. He had $30 million guaranteed. And he goes, I just didn't feel right about taking the $30 million guaranteed. So I retired so they didn't have to pay me the $30 million. He keeps his $10 million signing bonus.
Yeah, but he kept his $10 million.
Yeah, but still,
his roster bonus.
Yeah,
he was never going to play again, though. He knew this. I know it sounds great,
but a lot of
guys would have taken that $30 million. I dare say a lot of us up on this table would have taken that $30 million.
Because you could have justified it in your mind, like,
I can't believe you just reacted that way.
I really can't either. I think this is a stand-up move by him.
I mean, he just signed that massive deal, did nothing. He knew it was going nowhere with the franchise. Medically, I don't know if he was ever going to be cleared again.
But he doesn't have to.
But he doesn't have to.
Money.
Yeah, he could have sat there and gone through the rehab.
I don't think Derek Carr is like the outlier here. I think other people would have taken the $10 million and they would have.
You be truthfully. Would you have done? Would you have done it
with his? I don't know. I don't know my circumstances there.
I don't know many people. And I watched everyone fight on Twitter yesterday. I don't know many people that would turn down $30 million guaranteed that you signed, and it's part of the deal. It's guaranteed.
There's probably the perception that I'm this greedy guy out there, but there's not a lot of people that know how much money that I've left on the table over the radio days giving other people money. Like I remember when Ian came in. The deal was you go from 2 to 4 hours, but you're not getting a raise. And I had to give Ian half of my live reads. So, I think some people do sacrifice.
No, people do. And I'm sure Derek Carr has sacrificed in other places in his career. I think this is a stand-up deal because he could have easily gone through the motions and collected $30 million, and nobody would have known the difference. Like, he could have done it and gotten to the next offseason and said, I did everything I could to get back for this franchise, but my body just will not allow it.
Also, with him tapping out, he doesn't have to do the rehab. He doesn't have to report. There's a lot of obligation he doesn't have.
That is true. That is true. I mean, it's not like he's still going to have to do the rehab and doesn't get the 30. I mean, he could do that. But I'm saying I disagree with Lance. I think a lot of NFL guys would have gone through the motions there to get that $30 million.
If there wasn't the $10 million roster bonus. I think that was kind of a carrot. I guarantee you there was conversations with the Saints too, where the Saints were like, look, we're going to take care of you on this $10 million bonus. More than likely you're never playing again. This is a win-win.
There's still a big gap of cash that he was owed.
So it's $30 million on top of the roster bonus,
it's $30 million guaranteed that he could have had.
Yeah, so the roster was 10. The roster bonus was 10.
Yeah.
And he stuck around for that. He could, if he had punched out at the end of the season.
No, but I think 10. The roster bonus was still probably part of the $30 million.
Oh, you think
base.
so? So you think we're only talking $20 million?
Probably. I mean,
only $20 million.
Yeah, it's still a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot that I think a lot of people would have. He's 34. I mean, other side of that surgery. And he gets cut by the Saints eventually, gets that money, other side of that surgery.
I've always thought he's a good guy. I'm not doubting that.
Yeah, I'm not questioning whether you're doubting him or not. I just believe a lot of people would have taken the money. And at 34, you take a whole year off, maybe 2 years off. At 35, 36. I mean, missed most of last year, do the surgery, a whole year off. At 35, Joe Flacco's in camp. Aaron Rodgers, different career, but Aaron Rodgers just signed with the Steelers. He's 41, and the shell of himself. Russell Wilson, a shell of himself.
Okay.
All these guys are still getting shots. Mason Rudolph was the starter until yesterday.
I don't think Derek Carr is the spender. Those guys.
No, I'm just saying he could have come back probably and gotten another contract from somebody.
Okay, well let me play this out in real time. That's just going through my head. So you tell me how this would play.
And by the way, I don't think he was going to be medically cleared anytime
I'm
soon.
Derek Carr. I go to Saints ownership and say, look, we all know you guys want the number 1 pick next year. Y'all think this Arch Manning kid is going to be the next Archie Manning, and he's New Orleans, and this is just going to be perfect for y'all. If I stick around, y'all owe me $20 million more. I'll take half of that just so there's not the appearance that you guys are willingly tanking to get the Arch Manning pick. If I stick around and I stay, it looks like I'm still working to play next year, and y'all haven't completely tanked just for the first pick. So your fan base doesn't think we're tanking for Arch. It still looks like I'm part of the franchise. All right, I played that out in real time. Do you think the franchise says, okay, we'll give you $10 million for that? Did either one of you listen to what I said?
Yeah. No, I just don't know if the franchise cares whether or not the fan base thinks
they're tanking.
Because I think the fan base, based on the Saints fan base, probably would be behind tanking.
For Arch Manning?
If Arch is going to be that good, if they believe that.
The funny thing is, there is a chance that if they're the number 1 pick or the top team picking a quarterback, they could be, I don't know if it's going to play out this way, choosing between hometown legend, Texas quarterback Arch Manning, or home state Garrett Nussmeier, LSU Tiger quarterback. Wouldn't that be funny? I mean, that's their opportunity right there.
Our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama brings you part of the show. UCA is there for you to stay on top of your health. UCA is easy to get in touch with. You can call them up at this number, 205-930-0920. 930-0920, Urology Centers, Alabama.com. Prostate health to kidney stones, everything in between. Vasectomies, if you get to that point in your life and make that choice, they can do that. Everything with early detection, so important, guys. Find a plan, find a provider like Urology Centers of Alabama and make that first appointment today, and then stay in touch with them as you move from your 20s to your 30s, 30s to 40s, and so on. 205-930-0920, or find one of their convenient 16 locations, Urology Centers, Alabama.com. And also our friends at New York Butcher Shop, LT.
The weekend is here. Stop in, go see Jim. Great staff of butchers. 2 locations, the original Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. Pick up the steaks, the ribs, the chicken, the pork. You're going to absolutely love it with the great specialty items, including those in-house made sides. Fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts. One-stop dinner shop. Again, 2 locations, Cabo Heights, Highway 119. Get in, see Jim and the guys. Rare quality, well-done service. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
Okay, we'll save our spotlight for just a second. We'll do our 40 and 40 right here, though. It's brought to you by our friends at Champions Boxing. Before you tell us about Champions, we've had a couple of SEC teams this week. Auburn at 27, A&M at 25. We got another SEC team today with Oklahoma, and you're going to hear a little bit from John Mateer as we talk about the Oklahoma Sooners here. Brought to you by Champions Boxing, where LT, you got a chance to get out there with young Jack yesterday.
It was my fault. A little scheduling conflict. I was in a wood pile yesterday, literally. I told Brown about this.
Is that a euphemism?
Give more details on that later. Champions Boxing, hopefully today, be able to get out there. Look, they're open 7 days a week. Boxing for fitness and competition. Located conveniently right there in Pelham behind the Purple Onion. You can go to their Instagram at Champions Boxing AL, Facebook at Champion Boxing AL. The coaches have experience, amateur, professional, Olympic levels. Whatever your workout choice is, you want something that is different. You want a challenge. Anyone looking for a workout different than just throwing up weights, come check them out. Any former athletes looking to try another sport to compete in after high school and college, they are your official sports boxing coordinator for the 2025 World Police and Fire Games held in Birmingham this July. Get in, see Akash, Jake, Mailman, the great folks there, team and family oriented, helps in teaching discipline and fundamentals. Tell them the guys from the next round sent you.
All right, so coming in at number 23 in our rankings, the Oklahoma Sooners. Boomer Sooners back into the conversation of being a good football team. In at number 23, just ahead of Louisville, Texas A&M, Indiana, and Auburn for this week of our 40 and 40 ranking that is voted on by you, the viewers, and us up here. Where do you think the highest rated person had Oklahoma in our rankings?
I think somebody had them in the playoffs. I'm going to say number 12.
Number 11 was the highest rated one. That person, young man, I hope he's watching today, Lance Taylor. Lance Taylor had him at number 11.
Dear Lance.
My only fear here is the schedule.
11
I
Lance.
think they are one of the top 15 teams in football. I think John Mateer, Ben Arbuckle, this offense is going to be this good. You guys know I love Jay Knott. You're going to have healthy wide receivers. Such a pivotal year. I am fascinated to see how Brent Venables completely just in a year where he's got to win, lets the offense go and just focuses on that Oklahoma defense.
Would you agree, Jim Dunaway, about this young man named Lance Taylor? At 11, they probably are a 2-loss team.
2-loss or 3-loss. I'm with Lance. A 3-loss.
3-loss with that schedule gets them in.
A 3-loss SEC or Big Ten team will get in sooner rather than later.
So they win 5 of these 8 games. Okay, you ready for this 8-game schedule? They win 5 of them if they're a 3-loss team. They win 6 of them if they're a 2-loss team. Michigan, Auburn, Texas neutral site, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Alabama, and LSU. They win 5 or 6 of those games if they're number 11.
Look, they're only going to be favored in 7 games. This is what makes this tricky. I do think they're that talented. They absolutely have to be 5-0 to start going into the Red River rivalry.
So that means beating Michigan and Auburn at home.
Yep. And they're going to be favored in both of those games. So you got to take care of that business. If you can get to Texas at 5-0, crazy things have happened in that game. I do think they're better than South Carolina. I think they're better than Tennessee. I think they're better than Missouri.
And you think they're better than Auburn?
I think they're better than Auburn, yeah.
And I think you think they're better than Michigan.
I think they're better than Michigan.
Yeah.
And a lot of those games are at home. If that game's in Ann Arbor, if that game's at Jordan-Hare, that's a little bit different. That makes South Carolina a lot trickier. I think they're better than Ole Miss. I think it's a really difficult schedule, but based on that schedule and where these other teams are, and to put this in perspective, 9 of their 12 opponents are in ESPN's FPI top 25 right now. 9 of the 12.
It's a brutal schedule. It's about as bad as it gets.
By the way, they're one of those other 25s themselves.
Yeah.
So basically, half the field right there.
Something we talked about last year with their schedule, which was tough. You flip it around, I think it gets a little bit more tougher this year. One of the reasons LT has them so high and why a lot of people are high on Boomer Sooner this year is the quarterback, John Mateer. Here's John Mateer talking about moving from Washington State and now playing in the SEC against the perceived better defenses.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think playing the best defenses is going to show me that I'm capable to do it or what I need to improve on. And the timing is probably a little quicker. Watching film, you got to be more detailed because of the players that I'll be playing against, which is fine, makes it more fun, even more of a chess match, like I said, and it's gonna be fun. I'm excited for it. Now, will it be the easiest thing? No, but great atmospheres, great players, great coaches. It's the place to be.
Now his offensive coordinator brings him, so they're together, and there's a legacy of quarterbacks at Oklahoma. Is it fair? Is it fair to put, and he talks about the Heisman here in a second, is it fair to put that Oklahoma quarterback legacy in the conversation with Mateer here? Because that was under different coaches.
It was under Lincoln Riley and Bob Stoops and not under Brent Venables. But
it's under Ben Arbuckle.
It's under Ben Arbuckle, who was his offensive
does
coordinator.
Does that look like
at
a kid
Michigan,
that had 43 touchdowns last year?
It does not, Lance. He had 43, so he ran for that many? I didn't know because he had 29 passing.
He is so athletic.
If you told me he played the same position as Scatabo, if he was a physical running back, I would say yes. Look at that neck.
Honestly,
that's not the neck of a quarterback.
No, I would say lacrosse player. Like if I just saw him, if you're like, this guy plays collegiately, he's an FBS player in which sport?
Yeah, that neck, he's a linebacker, man. He's a safety.
Could be a catcher, a little bit.
Oh, you're right. If this is Oklahoma getting ready for the Super Regionals tonight, absolutely.
Yeah, but Brown, to answer your question, this is a dude that almost went 900 yards on the ground and 15 touchdowns on the ground.
Now, I did not know he had that many touchdowns. I knew he had 29 passing touchdowns because I was looking at his best games as a quarterback, Lance. And throwing the football, he played exactly one ranked team all year last year, and it was Boise State.
Yep.
But that might have been his best game. 26 of 37, so he completed 70% of his passes, 327 yards, 2 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. Now they got scalded, 45-24.
Well, what Boise did in that game is they made sure Mateer didn't beat him with his legs.
Yeah, so they let him throw, they let him run.
They did give him a little bit there, but he is so good in the intermediate stuff. Great vision. He can improvise. Now, look, is this Jeremiah Masoli when he went from Oregon to Ole Miss?
That was one of the most surprising things ever. I remember watching him at Oregon. I'm like, my gosh, this guy is so fast. And then he got at Ole Miss, and it looked like he was towing a piano. Like he couldn't outrun defensive linemen.
Yeah, I mean, look, the season is going to hinge on this, and Brent Venables is going to hinge. Brent Venables, 6-7, 10-3, 6-7. We talk about Hugh Freeze being on a hot seat in year 4. If Venables, even with his schedule, doesn't win in 8 games, there's a good chance he's gone. You got a new general manager up there in Jim Nagy, who we know well from the Reese's Senior Bowl back in the day. Andy Staples was reporting these guys, they don't have – it's not like Jim Nagy is reporting to Brent Venables. So it's already an interesting relationship to begin with.
Here's John Mateer on Oklahoma's history of Heisman winners. He hopes to get in line to be the first contender under Brent Venables for the Heisman.
I mean, I walk past it every day. I park right there, and there's 7 statues right there. It's pretty cool. I don't think about it every day and like, oh, that's what I want, because that's something that can happen as an outcome of the process that you do every day. And I want to win games, and you win enough games, that'll happen. That could happen. But that's not the first priority. It'd be really cool, It would. I'm not going to say it won't. But winning games is the most important, and then we'll see what happens after that.
If he is a Heisman finalist, you guys will agree Oklahoma's had a special season.
No doubt. Absolutely. They may be higher than your number 11.
Well, if they go 9-3 with that schedule, would you say that gets them in?
Gets them, yeah. I mean, there are other factors you would have to consider, but absent those factors, 9-3 with that schedule probably could get them the 12th.
I mean, that would mean you probably beat 5 or 6 ranked teams.
Yeah,
right?
I gave you some wins in there that are going to be very impressive wins. It is not time for our 3 guarantee show yet. We're not doing that today, are we?
It's not today, no.
Dang.
Do you guys like Oklahoma this year?
I would
outside of the schedule.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where I had them. I think I had them around 21, maybe.
More of that was probably schedule, right?
Yep.
Like if you gave them Missouri's schedule.
If I gave them Texas's schedule.
Oh, yeah.
If it were our 3 guarantee show, one of my guarantees would be Oklahoma will improve their passing offense in 2025. There are 16 teams in the SEC. Where do you imagine Oklahoma finished in passing offense?
16.
15.
16.
Yeah.
Even behind Vanderbilt, Jim. Vanderbilt had Diego Pavia.
I would say in rushing they finished 16.
I could pull it up for you right now. I mean,
pull it up.
They were dead last in passing offense.
I bet they were dead last.
They were 11th in rushing offense, yards per game.
That's surprising.
Yeah. So they've got to improve the pass. John Mateer will be better than Jackson Arnold was last year.
Yeah. Probably because of better offensive line and not injured wide receivers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that on Jackson.
Not
Arnold.
an indictment on Jackson.
Yeah, at all. That's Oklahoma. They come in as 23 in our 40 and 40 countdown. LT had the highest ballot, had them at number 11. There were 15 people that did not have them in their top 25, including one, Forrester/Scott on the back row. Forrester, you're not buying Oklahoma.
I am not.
Thank you, Forrester. No buy there for Forrester.
I mean, look, scheduled. I mean, this thing
It's
can fall
tough.
apart quick.
Yeah,
If you lose to Michigan, I think the wheels are already off.
Yeah.
I think I just don't buy Brent Venables.
Yeah, I don't really either, Scott.
I don't really
I'm kind of with
either.
Scott on that one.
Johnson RV Center, before we get to our viewing menu, tell us about Johnson RV, Brown.
I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center, and always online at johnstonrvcenter.com. They got a price range for just about everybody there at Johnston RV, as low as $129 a month with approved credit. And you can find everything there at Johnston RV, from the massive motorhomes that you see on the roads there, all the way down to those tow behinds, fifth wheels, toy haulers, all of that. And our great United States military, active duty, and veterans, you get great discounts there. Just ask them at Johnston RV, johnstonrvcenter.com.
All the bowl games announced yesterday for their times and date. Around our state, the Birmingham Bowl will be December the 29th. Afternoon game, 1 Central here in Birmingham on ESPN. Down in Mobile, the 68 Ventures Bowl will be December 17th. That's my birthday. 7:30 Central at night on ESPN. And in Montgomery, the Salute to Veterans Bowl is December the 16th. That's an 8 o'clock at night ESPN game as well, all those bowl games. One thing interesting, we already knew the playoff dates and times. One thing interesting, we'll play the Liberty, the Dukes Mayo, and the Holiday Bowl January 2nd. Between January 1st, the quarterfinals and the semifinals, those bowl games will be stretched out in between those bowl games. So the Liberty, the Duke, and the Holiday Bowls after January 1st this year.
So we don't just disappear from college football. Though I do find once the playoffs get started, it's harder for me to watch those types of games. I don't know about you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Michelson Laser Vision bringing you our viewing menu today. Tell us about Michelson.
Best in the business. The first to perform the LASIK procedure way back in 1995 was Dr. Mark Michelson. I got the procedure done in 2003, had the 2200 vision, was legally blind without the aid of contacts. 2015 vision, still better than 2020. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She is going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, $0 to lose, to find out if LASIK is right for you. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, tonight I've got 2 new theatrical releases as well as 2 movies you can watch at home. So starting off, Dangerous Animals in theaters. When Zephyr, a savvy and free-spirited surfer, is abducted by a shark-obsessed serial killer and held captive, she must figure out how to escape before he carries out a ritualistic feeding to the sharks below. It sounds crazy, and I basically just said, all right, sharks in a horror movie, I'll go see it at some point this week.
Is this animated?
No.
This is animated. Also not a documentary, right?
No, not a documentary.
Okay.
This is a fake story. We've also got The Ritual, a new horror movie starring Al Pacino and Dan Stevens as 2 priests. that have to overcome their differences to perform a risky exorcism. Right now, this has debuted with a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
So,
boy, poor Al Pacino.
Is Al out of money?
Yeah.
Is he? He's 100% broke? Yeah. Okay.
He's got a new kid to raise.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say this so far. Your first two have involved rituals. You may have a problem. Ritual feeding of the sharks, and now a ritual here they've got to overcome. That's too.
Yeah, I
guess ritual's a good script to write in Hollywood.
Yeah, so easy to write.
I think the two home streams that you're going to tell us about, I think I saw these yesterday. I'm interested in both this weekend.
All right. On Hulu, we've got a brand new Predator movie, and this is animated, and I'm not crazy about the style, but I'll still check it out this weekend. There's a Viking, a ninja, and a World War II pilot fighting Predator. That sounds pretty interesting.
Well, if it was not animated, yeah.
I would be more interested if it wasn't animated. I don't like the style they went with. And then also on Hulu, you can watch Borat.
I'm not a fan.
Those weren't the two. I saw where Sinners is streaming now.
Oh, yes. It's on premium video on demand now.
So I will watch that at some point this weekend. And then I saw The Accountant 2 is now streaming, which I will watch that at some point this weekend. And I gave Jack the bad news yesterday. I said, I'm buying in what Tyler's saying about Ballerina John Wick. So I don't think we're going to go see it.
Yeah, Tim saw it last night, and he's a bit higher on Ballerina than I was, but still the same. We see the same problems in it, and that there's some wacky scenes that just make you go, really? Come on now. Even though you know you're watching a John Wick movie.
But she's strong as new rope.
Oh, I like Ana de Armas.
Oh, yeah. I don't know who doesn't.
Well, you knew her name. Way to go. Can you start off these segments like you do your videos online? With that little hand gesture you do?
I'm all right. That's only for the shorts.
That's right. You got to go premium for that, right?
Okay,
go watch the shorts. It's on the Meltdown.
When we come back, we'll talk to Todd Fuhrman. He will join us. We'll ask him about Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers and if that changes the projection there of Pittsburgh in the playoffs. We'll also talk about the NBA with Tyrese Halliburton last night hitting another clutch shot that gave the Pacers a surprising win in Oklahoma City. We'll talk maybe about the Stallions, who play a conference championship game this weekend, a chance to go to the UFL Finals again. That's Sunday out at Protective Stadium, 2 o'clock, if you want to go watch that. And a lot of other conversations with Todd Fuhrman on the other side. The show being brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. Hemp Hill Services, they bring you Lance's Lock every day.
Yeah, make the phone call today, 205-229-2090. So close to a perfect 3-0 last night at Lance's Lock. We did have the Thunder a complete meltdown. We bounced back tonight. We've got some super regional baseball available along with some Major League Baseball. Free play every single day. Always brought to you by our friends. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954. Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation, 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you, 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the next round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
It's go time, Birmingham. Your Stallions are charging into the USFL Conference Championship. Sunday, June 8th at 2 o'clock at Protective Stadium. Don't miss the three-time champs as they battle the Michigan Panthers for a shot at the UFL title. Rally the squad and get loud because Birmingham doesn't back down when it's all on the line. Get your tickets now at UFLStallions.com and let's pack Protective. It's all Sunday at 2 o'clock. Get your tickets now, UFLStallions.com.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, we're on our way to talk to Todd Fuhrman now about everything going on in sports. The show being brought to you in part by our friends at New Life Art. Daniel A. Moore with all the great historic paintings that are perfect for Father's Day coming up in your sports room or in your sports cave, whatever you have at your house. Why not, if you're a Tide fan, or some Auburn paintings and days gone by, some wonderful works from Daniel Moore, DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com. Collector's items are available there as well. Promo code TNR. DanielMooreArt.com. The latest one, the buzzer beater from Mark Sears' win down in Auburn. So much more. Check it out. DanielMooreArt.com.
Todd Fuhrman is the co-founder of BetTheBoardPodcast.com. BetTheBoardPodcast.com. It's where you go for all the games. We'll talk about a handful of them, but everything going on in sports they covered at BetTheBoardPodcast.com. And at Todd Fuhrman on social media, he joins us on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline. Fuhrman, what is up, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. A little bit better than anybody who had an Oklahoma City Thunder ticket, or maybe more importantly, was a fan of OKC, as the Pacers did what they continue to do this postseason, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat in improbable fashion.
I don't know how you felt. I would assume you probably are like me. You laid the 10. I thought that OKC plus 300 was probably a better play on a sweep than this thing going 6 or 7 games. I was just sitting there watching. It was between 10 and 14 the lead. It seemed like the entire game. And I was just waiting for them to step on their throats and win this game by 25. And for Indiana to be able to come back on the road against a team with the best record, best point differential, best defense, I was completely shocked, Fuhrman.
Pretty incredible. I mean, this Pacers team, as we saw in the post-game interview with Tyrese Halliburton, I mean, they don't believe they're ever out of a game until it's officially 48 minutes are in the books. And you look at the way the Pacers were able to outscore OKC from beyond the arc, 18-0 in the fourth quarter. And to your point, LT, it never felt like the Thunder were ever in a bit of peril. Even when the Pacers had trimmed that to 7 or 5, it was still a multi-possession game. And the longer it went on and Indiana kind of hung around, all it took was them getting a couple stops defensively, OKC breaking down a little bit with some of their offensive game plan. And lo and behold, much like we saw in game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals against the Denver Nuggets, the Thunder end up losing that game. We'll see if they can bounce back in game 2, and that's a number that suggests it's the definition of a lay it or don't play it type scenario. You're not stealing anything laying 11 with OKC, but it wouldn't shock me at all if they win that game by 15 plus.
So the series is over, though, right? I can go to the window, and Oklahoma City is going to win the next 4. Can I bet them winning the next 4? Is that something I can bet in Vegas?
You can bet whatever way your little heart desires. And if you think Dunaway that they are going to win in the next 4 games, I mean, you're looking at a series price at minus 330, down from where it was at minus $7. To LT's point, mentioning kind of the gentleman's sweep and how things had looked coming in, that price tag was right around plus 210. And if you want to lay 2.5 games with Oklahoma City in this particular series, that price tag will get you right around 3-1 now. So there are still some opportunities to make money backing the Thunder here, a little bit more advantageous than what we saw coming into things. But right off this Pacers team at your own peril if you think they're going to lose 4 straight.
Todd Fuhrman, bettheboardpodcast.com on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline, at Todd Fuhrman on social media. Bettheboardpodcast.com is the website. Maybe I'm overselling this. I don't know. But have we seen, can you in your mind remember a team that has been this good in late game situations and had this kind of comeback in an NBA Finals or NCAA tournament, whatever you want to do?
Not at all. When you look at some of the historic numbers for some of the elite players that have made game-winning shots or game-tying shots in the final 5 to 10 seconds of regulation. I mean, LeBron James has done it 8 times in his career. So going back to 1997, Reggie Miller's done it 5 times. Tyrese Halliburton has done it 4 times just this postseason when the ball has been in his hands. And if you look at some of the win probabilities for the Pacers' most improbable comebacks, I mean, they've had 4 games where if you trust, some of the win percentage metrics that are out there and some of the forward-facing media sites, under 5% probability to win 4 games. If you look to try and combine how improbable that really is, I mean, you have a better chance of winning the lottery, about 1.5 million to 1 for the Pacers to win 4 games the way they've done it. And again, we haven't seen a team erase this big a deficit in the fourth quarter of an NBA Finals game since the Dallas Mavericks did it back in 2011. And lo and behold, who happened to be their head coach? The same man that was the mastermind of yesterday's comeback for the Pacers in Rick Carlisle.
That was not a hyperbolic number. You didn't just make that number up, those odds. That is a legit number?
Those are legit numbers when you look at how improbable it is from a win probability, taking the 4 games that the Pacers had less than a 5% win probability to come back and win. You're north, of 1.5 million to 1 to be able to get that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's being attacked by a shark down on the coast.
Yeah.
Fuhrman, NHL, you're a former hockey player. I know you love giving out the NHL picks. Game 1 Wednesday night, I thought the Panthers plus 102 were a good, solid play. It looked like that early on, up 3-1. Now when you go into game 2, I would think the Panthers are the play here, but, emotionally, how do they rebound from that overtime loss?
Yeah, a goal I'm sure that Sergei Bobrovsky would want to get back. As you mentioned, Florida builds that 3-1 lead and one that squeaks through them. It gave Edmonton some of that momentum that they were able to carry forward. Matthias Ekholm tying the game in the third period, where Edmonton did a tremendous job, albeit combined with Florida going into a little bit more of a defensive shell. Held the Panthers to just 2 shots on goal in the third period. And Florida was the better team for the first couple minutes of overtime, and then the ebbs and flows gave Edmonton all of the glorious scoring chances before they were able to capitalize, after Thomas Nosek took the delay of game penalty, firing the puck over the boards. Look, I'm a little bit surprised that Florida has taken as much money in the market for game 2. We saw Edmonton open up in that minus $1.20 to 122 range. It's kind of been one-way traffic on the Panthers, and I didn't expect to have a bet in this particular game. But as Edmonton moves closer to the pick'em price tag, my baseline number here was right around where it opened with Edmonton minus 119. So I think for better or worse, I'm going to be forced into backing Edmonton for the second straight game. Did feel pretty fortunate to win game one. But this Oilers team, for me, just has another gear that I don't think Florida can necessarily match, even with that championship pedigree. And if Sergei Bobrovsky isn't the best player on the ice for the Panthers in net, I think a lot of the other edges, whether it's the forward depth, whether it's their ability to run three defensive groups, goes in favor of the Oilers. So I'd be looking more at the Oilers side than I would the Panthers here. And I said before the series, I wouldn't be shocked if Edmonton was able to win this thing in 5 games. Didn't think game one would be as competitive as it was, but here we are with Edmonton having an outstanding opportunity to take a stranglehold before the series will shift venues to Sunrise for game 3 early next week.
So Aaron Rodgers is showing up for mandatory camp with Pittsburgh, a 1-year contract. Does that change the number in Vegas for the Steelers as a playoff team and maybe a Super Bowl team?
So the Steelers were 40-1 to win the Lombardi Trophy before Aaron Rodgers signed. They remain 40-1 to win the Lombardi Trophy now. They are still an odds-on favorite to miss the postseason, kind of the prevailing price tag right around minus $1.90. When you look at the dynamics in that division, clearly the third best team behind the Ravens and Bengals, at least on paper. And I think the one interesting number that people had circled was, of course, their week 1 game in that Justin Fields revenge type scenario where the Steelers are listed as road favorites at the Jets. When Rodgers confirmed, that number really didn't budge. Still looking at kind of Pittsburgh in that 2.5, 3 range. So this will be a Steelers team that I think gets its best quarterback under center since Big Ben. But at the same time, I'm not sure any of the betting markets are going to react one way or another because most odds makers were kind of working under the assumption that it was going to be Aaron Rodgers probably as the week 1 starter. If not him, the potential for Kirk Cousins existed. Whereas if it was Mason Rudolph, you would have seen one-way traffic looking to bet against the Steelers in a variety of different markets.
Okay, here's the portion of the Fuhrman interview that always blows you guys away when we ask him things like I'm about to NCAA baseball tournament, Auburn and Coastal Carolina, where you're like, okay, y'all have to give Fuhrman the questions ahead of time because he knows the answers. He probably had no idea I was going to bring this up. Auburn and Coastal, Fuhrman, I'll ask you just a general of any of the super regionals. Is there a play you particularly like? And do you have an opinion on this Auburn Coastal Carolina series that starts today?
So I was actually looking to try and make a case for Coastal in this series, but I have to give odds makers credit. I think it's fairly priced when we look at Auburn kind of as a minus $1.50 favorite for game 1 in this spot. I think the one thing that kind of flies under the radar is the schedule. The teams that play in the Sun Belt, I know it's not as rigorous as the SEC on a week-in, week-out basis, but Coastal battle tested, and they were the beneficiary of getting very good pitching at home last week. We'll see if they can carry some of that momentum forward. I mean, Auburn to win the series, very similarly priced to what it is for game 1, so no strong opinion there. The one dog that I think has a little bit more life than the betting market's giving them credit for, and while it's always difficult knowing that LSU battled back from a little bit of adversity against the Cinderella and Arkansas Little Rock, this West Virginia team I think has kind of flown under the radar. They were playing some of their best baseball down the stretch in the Big 12, and while going into Alex Box Stadium isn't exactly an easy feat by any stretch of the imagination, I think if you're looking to try and find that plucky underdog, West Virginia would be a team that I would be intrigued by in game 1, and maybe even look to try and bet them to take this series at a price tag right around plus 280, plus 290. As far as the other super regionals, look, a little SEC chaos, I guess, created some opportunity out there. I kind of joke with you guys that I had 5 long shots in the portfolio. All 5 go down last weekend. I just didn't have the foresight to see that Murray State would be a team that would outslug Ole Miss and Oxford in that winner-take-all scenario on Monday, knocking off the Rebels as, right around a plus 260, plus 270 underdog.
If I'm in a sports book in Vegas this afternoon, will Texas Tech Women's College World Series be on one of the screens? And I would imagine the betting lines are pretty 50-50. I can't imagine one team having an advantage over the other going into the deciding game tonight.
I mean, look, I would hope that game is getting prominent placement, not above my beloved NHL, of course. But when you look at the way that series has gone, I mean, Texas having an opportunity to potentially steal one yesterday. Texas Tech spending, $1 million to bring in, the top pitcher in the game, and she has no doubt paid dividends in every particular front. Honestly, Dunaway, I have not seen a price for the winner-take-all scenario in tonight's game. The one thing that I would feel relatively confident if you can find a total at 5.5 or better, you can look to potentially go unders. I think defense will rule the day, but should no doubt be a tremendous game given what we've seen. And having some close media colleagues in Oklahoma City, they are pretty bummed out that Oklahoma was not able to go back to the national championship and have a chance to continue building that legacy under head coach Patty Gasso and what they've meant to the sport.
I'll lay the line. I'll go minus 110 each side of that.
That's your number. I'm gonna have to poke around, Dunaway. I'll see if I can find a number on the game in faraway places. And if you happen to be accurate on your assessment here, then there is always a chance that there's going to be an opportunity for you as an odds maker going forward.
I always love to throw the pick of NASCAR at you for the weekend there at Michigan, which is a fair track, but it's not one of my favorite races. I know everyone will go with Larson. I'm going to take Denny Hamlin this weekend.
Denny has been outstanding at Michigan. When you look at his average finish, the consistent speed, the driver rating, the numbers don't lie there. Kyle Larson, to your point, a worthy consideration, very similarly priced in that 6.5 to 1 range. Naturally, guys, I give out what feels like Ryan Blaney every week on this show, and then last week he goes out and dusts Denny Hamlin in the third stage to leave me holding the bag. I'll go a little bit further down the board. I know this race has been extremely important in his career, especially as a Michigander. I think Brad Kay showed a lot more speed than the betting market has given him credit for. And a price is right around that 20 to 1, 25 to 1. I think Brad, a little bit of a worthy long shot. And another guy who's been snake bitten this season, trying to find his form, but was very good here last year. Look, eventually Ty Gibbs is going to break through. And at 50 to 1, I think there are worse dart throws than trying to build your card around those two guys and then looking to add a favorite or two once we see how the cars unload for an early morning practice, I think at 8:30 Eastern tomorrow morning from the Irish Hills in Michigan.
All right, a little ahead of the game on this question, but the event will already be underway when you join us next Friday. The U.S. Open next week at Oakmont in Pittsburgh. And we were talking Scotty Scheffler the other day, and we did the old, we used to do Tiger versus the field. You'd never go Scotty versus the field. I think y'all asked me for 3 favorites or something like that, and I very quickly said Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, which surprised Dunaway that I so quickly said Bryson DeChambeau, but I couldn't really come up with a third I loved. How do you like those first two, and who would be a third you love?
Look, I mean, Scotty continues to raise the bar right now, and the fact that there are some books where you're able to get Scotty Scheffler at a pretty decent price tag, relatively speaking, anything over 3 to 1, he's going to get bet. And I think that kind of stands out for a lot of folks when you're trying to assess this particular field and seeing how things are going to go. For me, it's tough to step in front of the freight train, given how good he's been. You mentioned the other guys in the sport, some of the biggest names that are there. The other one that may warrant a little bit of consideration, if you believe he was able to turn a corner, given his performance in the last major, would be John Rahm in that, 12 to 1, 13 to 1 range. I keep waiting for Ludwig Aubert to be able to sustain a little bit of current form, put together a phenomenal 4th round in the Memorial, but just hasn't shown that model of consistency. So I really believe you're looking at the top of the board, and this would not be a tournament that I would trying to be able to identify a long shot. One guy, gentlemen, that I will take no part of. I know he's near and dear to Alabama football fans' hearts. I don't think Justin Thomas has it in his game to be consistent enough with bogey avoidance. A little bit surprised to see him as short as 25 to 1 at some prominent books.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal rough, and they may not cut it again.
Even more brutal on the greens. They're going to roll it at 14.
Well, those are maybe the toughest greens in the world already, and if
they're actually slowing them down for the tournament. I'm told that they play them at 17 when you just roll up there as the weekday golfer, but they're slowing them down to 14, which is very fast.
That course is a rarity, and that the membership likes them to keep it as difficult as possible because they take great pride in that. And that place is about as tough as it gets for U.S. Open.
I mean, that's the good, the one thing I will say, I won't claim to handicap golf on a week in, week out basis, watch it more as a casual fan, but it's a heck of a lot more enjoyable watching these guys try and navigate through open conditions more so than going to places like Craig Ranch where you're shooting 30 under and it's a birdie fest. So should be an awful lot of fun like it always is. And I'll make the case, I know Augusta is probably the most iconic with the Masters, but for me, watching the U.S. Open when these course configurations are set up as difficult as they are is probably my favorite tournament to watch, from start to finish.
He is Todd Fuhrman, bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com. Fuhrman, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. You guys do the same.
All right, Fuhrman with us on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline. A mutual friend of ours, Woody Eubanks, good buddy of mine that I've played a ton of golf with, played at Oakmont a couple of years ago, and they're on number 9, which you'll obviously see it during the tournament, is a par 5. He reaches the par 5 and 2, and he asks his caddy, he says, where do I need to play this? And the caddy says, it doesn't matter. Your next shot's going to be with a wedge.
Yeah, you're going to put it off the green.
Well, you cannot keep this putt on the green.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right. And he said, sure enough, I'm chipping with my third shot.
Really light
shot.
glass?
Oh, these greens are probably, you could legitimately say the greens they will play at Oakmont are unlike any others in the world.
Okay, so outside of Scheffler, who is, a guy that is equipped to handle that?
That's why I didn't think DeChambeau could handle the putting.
Oh, really? You don't think he's good enough? I'd look at his stats, but he plays on the live, so I can't really compare what he's done this year. You probably
the guy on the Golf Channel the other night said the best way to prepare for this is to get into the bathtub and try to stop it before it rolls into the drain.
Yeah.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, put it down your driveway and try to stop it before it hits the street.
Seems a lot of fun.
No, you'll see some stuff like you don't normally see out of these guys at Oakmont.
Yeah, U.S. Open next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Always, it seems, on Father's Day weekend. I think that's always the plan.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to some more football here in a second, but I want to tell you about our friends at Twin Peaks First LT, a great place to go watch the U.S. Open next week and all the fun this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. The NBA Finals, that will go against Sunday. If you're looking for Game 2 of, obviously, the Stanley Cup Finals, you can check that out with our friends at Twin Peaks. No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks, whatever your preference. They've got everything from tequila cocktails, an extensive bourbon category, to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over the ice balls, local craft beers, handcrafted whiskey cocktails, round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about the 29-degree drafts. It's all going on right there at one of the convenient locations of Twin Peaks.
And when it came time to redo the master bath in the Brown house, my wife Jennifer scoured the internet looking for the right person for the job. She picked Brad Bell, and I am so glad she did. Brad's crews did tremendous work. First of all, Brad came out to our house and looked at it and said, what do you guys want? And we told him, our bathroom was a little bit dated. We wanted it updated. We wanted it darker rather than lighter. So all those things factored in, but Brad did those things. He didn't try to talk us out of them or do it his way. He did it the way we wanted. That's what you really want in a contractor, right? Well, he specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. Not to say that's all he does, but it's what he specializes in. And that's important because you're going to make your money back when you go to sell your home with those rooms popping the way they will, and you're going to enjoy them while you own your home. You can see more at AlabamaBathRemodels.com, AlabamaBathRemodels.com, or if you want Brad to look at a job for you, give him a call, 205-422-1758, 205-422-1758, or AlabamaBathRemodels.com. That's our guy, Brad Bell.
Hey, I saw somewhere yesterday that Ellie De La Cruz of the Reds, talented guy, hits, stealing bases.
Fastest man in baseball, probably, right?
But the strikeouts, like he passed Tony Gwynn on career strikeouts yesterday.
And Tony played, 20 years?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was there it is from on Twitter yesterday, passing Tony Gwynn in career strikeouts. And
what a stat for Tony Gwynn.
I don't have the actual number on the number of games it took for De La Cruz to get there.
De La Cruz has only got 1,200 at bats. He's really only played 2 full seasons.
Yeah. It's more of a testament that Tony Gwynn never
doubt.
struck out. Yeah.
But still, that is pretty incredible. So in, parts of 3 seasons, if you're looking at the at-bats, it would be 2 full seasons. But yeah, he's struck out 437 times. Every third at bat he's KO'd.
I was spot on. Tony Gwynn had played 20 years. I just randomly guessed that, and that's exactly what it is. He had 9,288 at bats.
How many strikeouts?
434.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's his regular season.
What was his career average?
Tony's 338. It shows you how hard baseball is. Yeah. That's the greatest hitter maybe to ever have lived, and he hit 338.
What's pretty crazy about De La Cruz is, he's a 251 hitter, but he's got power, and I guess that's the one negative that you look at.
Well, it's a boom or bust, right? You have the big swing and the
Yeah, but that kind of speed, you would understand that with like a Rob Deere or a Gorman Thomas back in the day.
If you remove...
But a shortstop that's got a great glove, he's got that kind of range with that speed.
If you remove Tony Gwynn's first season where he played in 54 games after he got called up to San Diego, he never again hit below 309 for a season. That's remarkable.
Oh, greatest hitter I've ever seen start to finish.
I mean, most would say it's either him or Ted Williams, best hitter of all time probably. But
never got to see him swing a bat.
Who, Ted Williams? Yeah, I never saw him my own eyeballs.
All right, so Aaron Rodgers is with the Steelers now. We asked Fuhrman about that, and he said it did not change the Steelers' prospectus for making the playoffs or not. For you, does it do anything to change the way the Steelers look to you?
Oh, look, I mean, they're going to be better with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, look, it was going to be Mason Rudolph more than likely.
But you've still got the third best quarterback in that division.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that didn't change anything.
He's still 41. He hasn't played elite football since 2021. I don't think he's ever going to play elite football again. I think the marriage between him and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith can be good. I think with George Pickens, it would have been better. I mean, you've got one borderline, I didn't want to call him elite, but DK Metcalf's a really good receiver.
Yeah.
Freiermuth is a really good tight end. The offensive line's middle of the road defense is one of the top 10 defenses. So they'll be better with Aaron Rodgers. Are they a playoff team? Well, they're almost a playoff team every year with Mike Tomlin. I don't think they are, though.
Career low 6.7 average completion on the yards for Rodgers. Usually he's more downfield than that. So that was a career low last year, though the touchdowns looked pretty good. He joins Brett Favre, Warren Moon, Carson Palmer, Drew Bledsoe, Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco, and now him as elite quarterbacks, possibly future Hall of Famers, to quarterback and take snaps for a third NFL franchise.
I feel confident in saying there are 10 quarterbacks for sure in the AFC that are better right now than Aaron Rodgers.
10 in the AFC.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, not one of those,
Nope.
with Indianapolis shoulder injury. Don't know about surgery yet. Likely not. It's an AC joint problem. He is done until much later this summer, maybe even into exhibition games. Daniel Jones getting all the first-team reps now in Indianapolis. A little NFL for you there. Don't forget the Stallions in action coming up Sunday, 2 o'clock down at Protective against Michigan. Our boy Luganville's in town for that broadcast. On Maine ABC, Stallions and the Panthers. That was the first ever Stallions game, was against the Michigan Panthers.
Oh, yeah?
In the history of USFL football way back in the 1980s.
Bobby Hebert was the quarterback for that Michigan team. I think it snowed in Birmingham that night.
Whoa.
Don't think it did.
I think
Are you
it did.
kidding me?
I swear.
Would that game have been in February?
It was on ESPN. It was in February. I remember watching it.
It wasn't on ESPN.
Forest Brook, and I remember there being a little dusting, as James Spann would put it.
I don't remember that. I remember it raining.
Let's get the date, and we can probably check that.
Yeah, 9-7, I think the final score was.
Yeah, when I say snow, you know what I'm talking about.
Flurries.
I'm not talking about,
no covering. You
when
said
you look up in the
dusting, but-
lights,
Yeah, I thought it was rain, but
Monday, March 7, 1983, the first game between the Michigan Panthers, the Birmingham Stallions.
this is the first game ever of USFL.
Legion Field. The game was first ever broadcast on ESPN. Panthers won 9-7 with Serbian kicker Novo Bajovic kicking the game-winning field goal from 48 yards at the final moments. Does not say that it snowed, but I will. Oh, I've got video here, I think.
Yeah, you do. The whole broadcast is on is on YouTube. If
Oh,
you
is
want
it?
it, I've watched it before.
What was the date?
Joe Simpson. Not Joe Simpson. I can't remember his name.
What was the date,
He
bro?
was the play-by-play guy. Did the Orange Bowl some for years.
Not Don Criqui.
No.
Monday, March 7th, 1983, Lance.
He did all the big ESPN broadcasts back in the first. I think Simpson was his last name. I may be wrong in the joke.
Oh, I know who you're talking. Yeah, it's not Joe Simpson. Joe Simpson was the angry Braves announcer that bitched about everything. Simpson, what was that guy's name? I know. I remember him now.
Yeah, I will find that. Y'all checking the snow forecast there?
Well, Lance is trying to.
While you're doing that, let's make this our bow tender moment of the day as we remember snow or not for the first Stallions game. They play again Sunday. Tell us about bow tenders.
That's right, Jimmy D. It can be bow time for you at lunch today. Those great chicken tenders at Bo's go great with a sweet are the heat. 7 sauces that can add a little extra flavor to every bite. If you're looking for sweet, try that honey mustard. Add some tang with barbecue. If you're looking for some heat, try creamy buffalo or peach honey pepper. If you're craving smooth or creamy, house-made ranch, jalapeno ranch, classic bow sauce, they are ready and waiting. So head to Bojangles, order some hand-breaded tenders with your favorite sauce today. It's bow time.
Jim Simpson.
Jim Simpson. Zero. If this is the actual video, 0 chance it snowed, Lance. Everybody's in short sleeves. 0 chance it snowed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just imagine.
Yeah.
Inclement weather, though. I remember some rain.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. When we come back, 4 downs today. We've got our spotlight still to go. And then also to start the final hour of the show, we asked this question with Auburn in the Super Regionals tonight. With Bruce Pearl, Butch Thompson's success, does that turn up the heat on Hugh Freeze? More pressure because the other guys are doing such a good job. All that's still to come on the show today, right here on the next round, brought to you from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino studio. This is TNR.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, you. Days warming up. Looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham. We got now.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
It's go time, Birmingham. Your Stallions are charging into the USFL Conference Championship. Sunday, June 8th at 2 o'clock at Protective Stadium. Don't miss the 3-time champs as they battle the Michigan Panthers for a shot at the UFL title. Rally the squad and get loud because Birmingham doesn't back down when it's all on the line. Get your tickets now at UFLstallions.com and let's pack Protective. It's all Sunday at 2 o'clock. Get your tickets now, UFLstallions.com.
Do you need some fresh college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Welcome back. Forrester just made my heart skip a beat.
What?
He sent me a text that said DeBoer fired. And then I opened it up.
It's true.
And it's this. The Dallas Stars have fired general manager Pete DeBoer.
I can't imagine the level of scandal it would take to get DeBoer out
right now. Yeah.
But I've lived through it all in 30 years of my career. And
this is not too far from the time on the calendar where Mike Price was fired.
Yeah. And all I get, not all my texts pop up on my iPad in front of me here, but it pops up as I'm sitting down opening my Coke Zero. I don't even see a link. It just says DeBoer fired.
Yeah.
So I look at my phone and I got 2 texts from Forrester. There's no flashing red lights or anything, and I open it up. It's the general manager of the Dallas Stars.
You know, we were talking about a scenario before the show about, a situation. And
whoever.
And I think one of us said, like nothing really surprises you, but there are certain people that there's only a handful of things that could get them done,
Yeah.
Like back at Nick Saban, like
sexual situations.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
I really and we kind of joked about this, and this was early on. Me and Ian talking about this, and I think we even talked about it when we did a form of the round table back in the day. The three of us. I really don't think there was anything that could have got Nick Saban fired, and I'm not exaggerating.
It would have had to rise to an extreme level.
Yeah, like even capital murder.
Yeah,
what would have happened there is, okay, we got to give him due process.
Well,
like, every other coach would be, immediately fired, and then they would take the repercussions if the guy's proven innocent. But Nick Saban, it would be like, hey, we're letting this thing play out.
Yeah, that's right.
We're still going to let him coach if he can.
Let's let the court of law have their day.
Let's do our college football spotlight today. It is brought to you. Hold on. Before we do that, tell us about Lags.
Lags Eatery, great place to go. Was actually going to go there for dinner last night. Got a little sidetracked. Didn't make it. Going to get out there this weekend, though. See Eric, Justin, the guys. Remember, late night, I actually had a buddy, Chris, text me. Didn't respond to his text. Needed to. Well, it was one of those. He texted me at like 10:30 last night. I didn't see the text till this morning, and he's like, "This is a great time of night to eat at Lags."
Oh, wow!
And it was that fourth meal that you can get. You can get that Thursday, Fridays, Saturdays because they open at 6 a.m. for breakfast. Go all the way to 2 a.m. Maybe you work that second or third shift. Get in, enjoy the incredible burgers, those bologna sandwiches, fantastic sides, ice cold beer. It's a nostalgic brand brought back from the 80s and 90s from Homewood, now in Avondale, conveniently located between Avondale and Cahaba Brewing, just a stone's throw away from Mom's basement. Get in for lunch, dinner, breakfast, late night. It's Lags Eatery.
The College Football Spotlight.
The Shunnarah Spotlight every day. Our guy Alexander Shunnarah brings it to you. He's headquartered right here in Birmingham for more than 24 years, and the firm has now grown to more than 150 lawyers, supported by more than 500 dedicated team members. The elite trial lawyers with Alexander Shunnarah have recovered more than $2 billion, maintaining Alexander's core values of integrity, mastery, passion, and success. His mission, create a firm that handles anything his community face. He has done just that. Shunnarah.com. When you're in need for an attorney, you do not pay a dime unless they win your case. Shunnarah.com.
Bad reports from Eugene. Oregon wide receiver Evan Stewart, according to some reports, have a torn patellar tendon. It's going to cost him the season. That from several sources, Matt Zenitz there, injury this week, feared to be significant, according to his sources out there. Stewart previously reported had gotten injured, had 48 catches last year and was supposed to be their top returning receiver, one-time Aggie.
Yeah, because Tez Johnson and
Trayshawn Holden.
former Alabama receiver Trayshawn Holden are both gone.
And Terrace Ferguson, first pick by the Rams in the second round, tight end. I mean, 3 of your top 4 receivers. Now all 4 of your top 4 receivers are out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a brutal loss because when you look at his numbers, you say, okay, well, those aren't dazzling numbers. I think you gave them, didn't you, just now?
48 grabs, 600 yards,
yeah, 600 some odd
touchdowns.
yards, 5 touchdowns. You're like, okay, you can absorb that. But when you add it into what you've already lost, it's almost a complete reset at receiver for Oregon this year.
One of the new guys is Malik Benson, Alabama, Florida State, now to Oregon. He's trying to, but he doesn't rise up to what Evan Stewart was supposed to be in his years at Texas A&M and Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at 2,800 yards receiving, roughly 200 grabs, and 23 touchdowns.
It's a passing game reset because they're already starting over at quarterback.
Yeah, and you lose a veteran quarterback.
Yeah, with Dylan Gabriel going to the NFL. So it's a passing game reset basically for Dan Lanning if Evan Stewart is, in fact, out for the entire year.
And that looks to be the case. By the way, they do have a big recruiting weekend in Eugene. 5 5-star recruits on campus this weekend and a host of other 4-stars, all that happening in Eugene. Speaking of recruiting, while we're still in the college football spotlight here, 5-star wide receiver from LSU, Tristen Keys, has been a long-time LSU commitment, but those that follow LSU recruiting are starting to get worried because he has removed all of his LSU tags off of his social media platform. There's his commitment day. He's a true 5-star guy, a top 5 in the upcoming recruiting class. People are starting to worry that this is going to be like quarterback Bryce Underwood, who was LSU all along and then ended up going to Michigan in the 11th hour. Keys has re-upped some official visits coming up. He's going to Texas A&M, to Auburn, to Tennessee, to Alabama. Ole Miss is in the mix as well. He's coming off a visit to Miami after the Miami visits when he stripped all the LSU stuff off. He is going to go to LSU for his final visit of the summer and then make a recommitment, I guess. But he's still taking all these visits, and LSU folks is sort of the recruit so far for LSU. A lot of people are worried that he may end up somewhere else now.
I can't imagine. It's got to be extremely difficult to recruit in the world of NIL because, and I'm not saying this is only NIL related, but I do think the Bryce Underwood deal was very heavily NIL related. Michigan came in at the 11th hour and basically, I guess, paid more than LSU was willing to pay for Bryce Underwood.
He was a Michigan kid, but yes.
Yeah, but I mean, he had been committed to LSU, as you said, for a very long time.
Yeah, the Michigan people would tell you that it was NIL that had him going all the way to Louisiana and not
maybe
just down the
probably,
street.
yeah.
But it is amazing that I guess it gets to a number where somebody's got to tap out. It's like you get a couple of billionaires bidding for a piece of art, one's going to ultimately say, hey, that's enough, and that's what LSU did in Underwood.
Except in this case, I'm doing it on high school players that have never taken a snap of college football, and I have no clue how they're going to pan out.
I go back to the On-3 event we were at and, asking around, like, who is the guy here? And they were like, it's Bryce Underwood. You'll see him in a little bit. And, like, when he came out, I didn't know. I'd never seen him before. I was like, that's him. Like,
right,
I've told this story before. Like, he looks like he's got the physical build already of an NFL quarterback. He's got that aura where everybody turns and looks when he walks in a room. So, like, I fully expect him to have success.
But to be fair, this guy, not to be fair, but to be clear, this guy's not considering Michigan. This guy's considering staying in the SEC, it sounds like, Jim.
Yeah, A&M, Miami.
Okay.
Then A&M, Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU.
Yeah. So LSU's not dead.
Yeah, we're going to see this Tristen Keys kid somewhere. We'll see where he ends up being. First official signing date's not until December, but he's been a long-time LSU commitment. A couple other notes before we do our 4 downs, before LT tells us about Dr. B. October 30th may be the most unique coaching matchup we get this year. Norfolk State, coached by Michael Vick, will play Delaware State, coached by Deshaun Jackson. So Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson will go against each other as head coaches in college football.
Look,
Norfolk State and Delaware State.
Deion has had success. Eddie George has had a little success. This is this new trend. It ain't going to work out every place. So good luck to those guys.
Traditionally, both very tough jobs. We'll see what Vic and Deshaun Jackson does there. Michigan made a scholarship offer earlier this week to Charles Woodson Jr.
I mean, it's impossible. I think Pat Surtain, when he played at Alabama, was the first guy I was like, holy crap, because, his dad played for the Dolphins. I'm like, my gosh, I'm getting old if Pat Surtain Jr. is now playing at Alabama. Of course, he's already in the NFL now. So I don't know what the next one will be where I'll be like, holy crap, I'm about to die. I mean, Charles Woodson Jr. is pretty close. I mean, we're talking 1997? Charles Woodson.
When he won the Heisman.
97,
yeah.
Dr. B brings us our 4 downs today. Tell us about Dr. B.
T3hair.net, easy way to go online, get a little more information about Dr. Beckenstein, a guy we've been telling you about for years since we first started this venture. Way back in 2021, I noticed I was thinning out back of my head, so I went to see Dr. Beckenstein. That is the name everyone mentioned. Since that moment, I've done the non-invasive treatment 3 times a week. 30 minutes each time on the couch. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, advanced training, genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. And speaking of procedures, T3's got that new test, so easy, painless, affordable, takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. Men and women ordering Hims, other products online, don't even know if they work. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Go see Dr. B and that great staff. Find out what will work. 205-319-0316. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, t3hair.net.
First down.
Okay, you got to let me get into my phone here.
Crack her open.
You got to,
Facial recognition.
While he's doing that, remember to go to nextround.store to get the new T-shirts. Brownie, tell them about those T-shirts.
We've got 4 new summer styles that are there. Hats on the way. As you notice, as Scott shows you the photos, the color schemes very closely resemble some teams we very much enjoy, but they also happen to be great summer colors. You can get all things right there at nextround.store. Our buddy Mark Welch from Anheuser-Busch sent me a Instagram video last night.
Wax Monkey?
Yeah. Well, I didn't connect the band immediately, but he's like, look at the drummer of this band. So it's a band, and they're playing a show. They cut to the drummer. He's wearing the Next Round, the OG Next Round gray T-shirt. And I'm like,
I remember the name. So
I showed it to Jennifer, and I was like, and she goes, what band is that? I said, some band named Wax Monkey. And when I said it out loud, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember who they are now.
Parking Lot Cinco,
That's
Triple
right.
by Tacos.
Yep. So he took our T-shirt, and he at least wears it while he's on stage. I appreciate that.
Good black bean dip there.
Oh, it was good black bean dip at Trample by Tucker. You're right. Nextround.store, by the way, to purchase those. Nextround.store.
Okay, more wins. You already did first down, right?
Yep, first down.
The Oklahoma Sooners or the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the reason I bring this up, it seems on the surface pretty simple with this really, really difficult Oklahoma schedule. But Dallas's win total is only 7.5 right now in Vegas.
7 or 8 for Dallas for the Cowboys. I think I would take Oklahoma. I'll take Oklahoma 8-7. I could easily see the Cowboys in at 7-10.
Oklahoma at 9-3 is going to be quite the story. I think it's going to be around 9 for both. The only thing that I've got reservations about saying the Cowboys is good is that 7.5 number, and for Oklahoma it's the schedule. I'm going to lean Cowboys just because I get 7.
That is one of the weirdest numbers of all of football is the Cowboys with 7.5 wins. They seem like they'd be so much better than that.
Yeah.
I would say Oklahoma. I think I'll go Oklahoma in this one.
I've got Oklahoma 8-7.
Okay.
Second down.
This is going to be something we probably will reference throughout the season. I think the networks will. Everyone will talk about it. But more total touchdowns, John Mateer or former Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold, now at Auburn.
So when I brought up the fact that Oklahoma can only improve in passing offense, a lot of people in the chat room are like, what happened to that Oklahoma quarterback whose passing offense was 16th out of 16 in the SEC? Those are obviously Alabama fans poking fun at Auburn fans. I will say this. I am not a believer in Jackson Arnold to the extent I think you guys are. I'm not saying Jackson Arnold's going to be awful. I don't think Jackson Arnold's just going to come in and tear it up at Auburn. I am not. I think they'll be improved over Peyton Thorne. Again, that is a bit of a low bar. But I don't think Jackson Arnold's going to come in and be all world at Auburn. I'm not a believer in that yet. I'll apologize when and if I'm wrong. So I think was the question John Mateer or Jackson Arnold?
Yeah, more total touchdowns.
I will go John Mateer.
Look, Mateer is the better quarterback in my opinion, but I think this is going to be, and I've brought this up before, Detroit and LA, the Stafford golf trade. I think it's going to work out for both. I really do. Jackson Arnold getting reset with a much better offensive line, much better receivers. I think it's going to be a win for him. And then I think Mateer coming from Washington State with his offensive coordinator to an offensive-starved system, I think this is a win-win. With all that said, Mateer's a better quarterback. I'm going to go Mateer.
I'll give you 42 less disclaimers than Brownie did on his prediction. I'll take Jackson Arnold more than Mateer in touchdowns.
That's good news for Auburn fans if that is, in fact, how this thing plays out.
Yes.
Second down.
Go back and listen to that one, Brownie.
Third
that was
down.
That was an all-timer. That was an all-timer for you, Brownie.
What disclaimers did I give?
Oh, my goodness. How quickly can we get a replay of him?
What were they?
Forrester at listen, I'm not buying into Jackson Arnold, and then he'll be better than Peyton Thorne.
I said maybe a little bit better than Peyton Thorne. That's a low bar.
It was an all-timer. That was an all-timer, Brown.
Okay, I've got a feeling the guys flanking me to my right or left are not going to know this name. I know you are going to know this name. Robert England is 78 years old today.
Oh, Robert England was...
I know who Robert England was.
Oh, wow.
78?
78.
Robert England.
He's a...
Well, wait, let me
see if Jim knows.
Robert England... 78 will put you right there. He was the Who didn't have a drummer. He was the basis for...
The Who didn't have a drummer.
Yeah.
That's how did they keep rhythm?
Yeah, they had a pretty well-known drummer
in itself.
I thought it was just the two guys, the singer and that guitar guy.
How do we keep the rhythm? I don't know.
Keith Moon was a pretty good drummer.
Yeah, was he really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not Keith Moon.
I know this. I know the answer, though.
I'm going to say he was the basis for Led Zeppelin.
I am going to be surprised that you know this.
The basis for Led Zeppelin was not Robert England. Robert England
John Paul Jones, by the way.
Played Freddy Krueger.
That is correct.
How do you know this?
Wow.
The guy that hasn't seen Die Hard or Jurassic Park. Have you actually seen?
I have seen Friday the 13th.
No, well, it's not Friday the 13th.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street?
So close.
Is it Nightmare on Elm Street? Yeah, I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street.
It is. Yeah. Yes, it is Freddy Krueger. The actor actually was also in the movie Stay Hungry that I've brought up a few times. Filmed him in Birmingham. Jeff Bridges, Sally Field, Arnold Schwarzenegger back in 1975. Had a bit part in that. But Robert England at 78, better career. England or Tommy Tuberville? I mean, it is one role. It's not like he had to do a lot of acting.
Yeah, he really did not.
He showed up in Scream, but that was also like as a reference to Freddy Krueger. He was the janitor at the school, and he was wearing the same kind of hat and sweater.
Yeah, I think
the floors.
He acted about as hard as Tuberville recruited.
All right, but unless something exceptional happens, Tommy Tuberville is going to have been an SEC football coach, United States Senator, and governor of one of our 50 states.
And I will national championship defensive coordinator.
I will guarantee you that has never happened.
Freddy Krueger is pretty iconic, though, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Freddy Krueger is considered to be like on the Mount Rushmore of.
Let me ask you this: if all
villains.
these geeks were to roll out for Comic-Con and if Robert England was the headliner, would it be completely packed out?
Oh, absolutely. When he's at conventions, he's got the longest lines. By
Do you
far.
think Tommy Tuberville downtown today, Robert England, both have set up? Robert England's at Comic-Con. Tommy Tuberville's doing some kind of Republican luncheon. Who gets more people showing up?
Robert England, no question. I think people would like to meet Tuberville if they didn't have to like pay to stand in line to meet him.
You've had a million chances to meet Tommy Tuberville around here.
I mean, how many people walked straight past him at Greystone last week and didn't say anything?
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly. I think people like to just see him out and about or run into him at a restaurant or something rather than go to like a meet and greet type
I'm
of
still
event.
going to go Tommy Tuberville.
You said Mount Rushmore. for one guy. The other guy was Tommy Tuberville, so I'll go with the guy that's the Mount Rushmore of that. So I'll side with you there, Jeeves.
But who is it? Is it Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and who's the fourth?
The fourth one is debatable. You can debate Ghostface from the Scream franchise, or you can go Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw.
Ooh, Leatherface is scary. By the way, epic fell by me.
Or Alex from Fatal Attraction, right, Dunaway?
Quick look at Grok. Grok asking the AI here. I just simply asked, was Keith Moon a good drummer?
You did not ask that.
Yeah. Chances are
he's a top 5 drummer in everybody's list.
Moon hated repetition, as just using it for beat became one of the more creative use of tom-toms and disregarded conventional timekeeping for drums. One of the first drummers to make drums a lead instrument. One of the most influential drummers of all time. Don't remember seeing him in the Who videos.
Boy, I tell you what, to this day, I still hate a drum solo in a concert, though. I hate it when they hand it over to the drummer because he's got to have his moment, and it's nothing but a bunch of racket. I hate it.
I'll tell you, though, man, watching, Def Leppard will be in Birmingham in 19 days. Can't wait to go to the new amphitheater to check them out.
Does that old boy do a drum solo?
Watching Rick Allen do his drum solo with that Cheshire grin and his Yukon Jack headphones on.
Right.
It's such a good drum solo to watch him with one arm do that.
Yeah. That's an element of difficulty, though, with the one arm.
And then if you go see somebody like Motley Crue,
Tommy Lee,
you want to see Tommy do some crazy stuff while still not missing a beat.
When he was doing the spin, I forgot, did it multiple tours. That was incredible stuff.
I mean, on the track where
he would be in a cage turning upside down.
Yeah, drumming and get going fast too sometimes.
I don't think I could eat a sandwich upside down. Could you?
Yeah.
Keep your train of thought upside down.
I'd give it a shot.
I don't think so.
Only one way to find out.
That's right. We can test this.
Paul Giamatti, 58 years old today. Ultimately better career, Paul Giamatti or Paul Walker?
Paul Giamatti plays exasperated better than just about anybody.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think
he's always exasperated.
So Sideways, one of my favorite films of all time, and he won, Best Actor for that Academy Award. But The Holdovers, so good. He was even good. Did you guys see the film about Howard Stern, Private Parts? He was Pig Vomit, the old program director for Howard Stern early on in his career. Paul Giamatti, fantastic actor. I'm going to go Giamatti. I know a lot of people would go Paul Walker here.
Right? The Fast and the Furious guy?
Yeah, I'm going Paul Walker. Paul Giamatti will be known as just like a great actor, but he'll never have the sort of level of prestige and sort of just star power that Paul Walker had with that Fast and Furious
I've never
franchise.
seen a Fast and Furious. What did Paul Walker do? Was he just like
He was the main character.
Undercover cop.
Okay.
Undercover cop sent to bust these street racers who also might be smuggling electronics, and then throughout the course of however many movies they're at, you end up with them going to space and being like international spies.
But Brown, this is going to shock you. Sex pot, Paul Walker that could win over the bad guys and the good guys, was in great shape with skin off, was always hooking up with the women and stuff. What was the movie with Paul Walker and Jessica Alba? Into the Blue?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And the best scene is like the drug dealers. Have you guys ever seen that where they're down in the Bahamas?
Nope. I have
and
not.
they find a plane with a bunch of cocaine in it, but he's standing on the bottom of the ocean, like literally like in jeans, holding his breath, and like these boats are going over him.
So it wasn't realistic at all?
No, it's just a bunch of good-looking kids like skinned off the entire movie. Jack loved it.
Yeah, it is Jessica Alba.
There's a tiger shark attack in it, too.
Hard to beat.
Yeah, that's Jessica Alba. And
that's prime.
One seed right there.
Yeah, prime.
That's all I got.
And that is 4 Downs today. In part, the show being brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Tell us about Hemphill, LT.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. Make sure that HVAC unit ready to keep up with this changing weather. You can do it when you call Adam, Chad, Andrew. The guys there, tell them the next round sent you. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Can other coaches on campus put more pressure on you, the football coach? We look at Auburn as they get ready for a super regional tonight in baseball. That coming up on the other side. This is the next round.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
It's go time, Birmingham. Your Stallions are charging into the USFL Conference Championship. Sunday, June 8th at 2 o'clock at Protective Stadium. Don't miss the 3-time champs as they battle the Michigan Panthers for a shot at the UFL title. Rally the squad and get loud because Birmingham doesn't back down when it's all on the line. Get your tickets now at UFLstallions.com and let's pack Protective. It's all Sunday at 2 o'clock. Get your tickets now, UFLstallions.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show now, brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champyschicken.com on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go check out Sterling and the crew down there, brined overnight chicken that comes out piping hot, man. It makes it so much better that it's not sitting under a lamp like you get at so many places out there. It doesn't happen at Champy's. They cook it to order for you every time. The chicken fingers are hand cut. The poor boys are delicious, so creative, placed on that bun there. And, of course, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's a destination lunch location for over a decade in the same location, just off Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go check out our friend Sterling and the fine folks at Champy's world-famous fried chicken. Trash coming up a little bit later on. Todd Fuhrman earlier. Charles Barkley on the show yesterday. A lot of that interview can be thrown away because everyone was talking about how great Oklahoma City was in that, and Indiana beat them last night. Not a gentleman's sweep when the other team wins the first game.
Yeah, even if it's 4-1, if you lost the first game, that cannot go down as a gentleman's sweep.
I don't know how they won that game.
They're Indiana. That number Furman gave you was crazy. You've got a better shot at winning the lottery than Indiana had at winning the 4 games they've won. The late game heroics.
So there were a few Indiana fans in that crowd. I mean, obviously, it's a very weird crowd at Oak City. If you sit back and watch a game, it's almost like a Promise Keepers meeting. They've all got the same shirts on every game. They're all like sitting attentive, but they're not really into the game. But there were these 2 Pacers fans. It was like a husband and wife, and they've got their Pacers gear on.
Right.
And just watching them stand out in that crowd, like I would have left probably, I don't know, right at probably the 10-minute mark. And for them to stay there and be the only people celebrating in the crowd was pretty incredible.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was ready to go to bed, and I'm like, God, the Pacers just never really die. I'm going to stick with this thing. I'm glad I did.
Before we get to our conversation about Hugh Freeze and Auburn, we had a couple of basketball contracts yesterday. BYU's Kevin Young gets an extension. He's got A.J. Diabate coming in as the nation's biggest recruit. Did a really good job at BYU. That program's on the come-ups. And then Kelvin Sampson got his contract. 4 years, $23.5 million for the next 4 years. Kelvin Sampson there at Houston. Best value in college basketball, maybe, with that guy?
I mean, you're talking about less than $6 million a year for – I don't know if he's ever going to get the credit he deserves, but Kelvin Sampson right now is one of the top 3 active coaches in college basketball. Is that fair?
It'd have to be, yeah.
I mean, he's more accomplished than either coach we've got in state.
It could end up being the preseason number 1 team next year. Maybe it's St. John's, maybe it's UConn, but Houston will be in the conversation again. That's a great deal at 4-year, $23.5 million. He's making his money here at the end of his career. There was talk maybe him walking away at the end of last year.
He's got son and daughter on staff. I would assume that, hey, I'll take a little less, you give them a little more. Would you guys think that's probably
so? Yeah, I'm sure it benefits them. Yeah,
under $6 million for him at a major program now that's the Big 12, and you saw what they were able to do in year 1 in the Big 12. That is, Dunaway, I agree, that's value, but I think there's probably something behind the scenes where let's spread it out amongst the assistants. Probably doesn't say, let's take care of my kids, let's take care of everybody.
I doubt either one of you could name the coach at Houston before he took over, but that program had slipped pretty bad. It's hard to imagine the way they play now.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Tom Penders was there.
And there was a coach between Penders and Kelvin Sampson. There's a guy named James Dickey. 12-18, 15-15, 20-13, 17-16. And this is a perennial Final Four contender now. So he took over a program that was dying and has injected life back into it. He's worth every dollar you're paying him. I'd have to agree, Jim. I don't know that you're getting a better value than that guy there.
Michigan is meeting the Committee on Infractions for Football, Connor Stallions, and the recruiting violations, all that on the table as that meeting goes on today and tomorrow. When it is said and done, do you think Shunnarah Moore's suspension is more than the 2 games self-imposed? Do you think they throw down more?
Harbaugh got 4?
He did get 4.
And not that these are the same infractions and all of that. I was just trying to gauge.
I don't know.
I mean, Harbaugh, correct me if I'm wrong, all Harbaugh's 4, none of that had anything to do with the Stallion stuff, right? That was all about the buying the cheeseburger during COVID.
It was illegal contact and recruiting during COVID and other violations.
Yeah. Which one do you think the NCAA views as more serious?
It's, to me, Shunnarah Moore deleting his text is most serious, because then you're sort of covering up the investigation.
Right. And what got Harbaugh burned was he lied about the recruiting situation, right? And the way they caught him was a credit card receipt from that burger joint, the Brown Jug or whatever it is up in Michigan.
Sounds so ridiculous.
It really does. I mean, especially when you consider the world we live in now. I mean, 2 years later, nobody would have batted an eye at that.
Well, deleting your text is lying.
Yeah.
Basically, you're deleting something you don't want them to see.
It depends. It depends on if you are a text deleter or not. I am not a text deleter. I don't know about you guys. Now, I mean, I delete like trash, but like any thread that you and I have or you and I have, I never delete those. Are you guys text deleters?
To clean it out, mine is set where it deletes every so often.
I think mine deletes after 1 year.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I used to be a text deleter. I'm not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've changed your ways, Lance.
Well, I've got nothing to delete anymore.
Yeah.
I just assume.
Which feeds you what's good, yes.
But yeah, I mean, when you delete text, I mean, there's obviously something there.
Yeah.
Well, some people do it as a practice.
But I just can't believe a sitting head coach with today's technology, when you see situations like Hugh Freeze and how that played out, Houston Nutt way back in the day, how like anything would get through. If you don't have a burner, how that would even get through makes no sense.
So we'll see what comes out of that. With the one thing that will not come out of it is a television ban. Those days are over. I don't even think we'll get to a postseason ban, but maybe that would happen for Michigan. But I don't think we'll get to that. It'll be more financial, if anything, and maybe suspension for people who are still there, like Shunnarah Moore. 2 games already self-imposed. They were not the first 2 games, so there is a belief that it could end up being the first 4 games for Coach Moore at Michigan. We'll see how that plays out. To our Auburn question, after we tell you about our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa, tell us about Woodhouse.
Woodhouse Day Spa, the gift of relaxation for dad. Think about dads working hard, breaking that back for the entire family, trying to figure out, what do we get the old man for Father's Day? How about the gift of relaxation from the Woodhouse Day Spa? He will absolutely love it. You can order a gift card 24/7 online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Let him choose from a menu of over 70 options with the massages, body treatment, skin care, all right there at the Woodhouse Day Spa, located up at the Summit Shopping Center's beautiful location. Get in, see Stewart and the great staff there. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
So 24 years ago in Birmingham, our guy Alexander Shunnarah founded Shunnarah Attorneys. Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. I don't know that Alex ever dreamed it would become what it has become, but he did have a plan and a mission from day one, creating a firm that could handle any issue his community faced. Well, now not only do they handle personal injury claims, but also claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, a host of other claims. So that mission has been accomplished. So Alexander Shunnarah is the place you need to go when you find yourself in need of a trial attorney. Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shunnarah.com. Shunnarah.com.
Tonight at Plainsman Park, a record crowd will be on hand as Coastal Carolina carries their 21-game win streak in to play Auburn, Game 1 of a best-of-3 series. Again, tomorrow they'll play Game 2, if necessary, on Sunday, all on the road to Omaha. It is the 4th time Butch Thompson has led Auburn into the Super Regionals. He's been to Omaha. His success is well documented. Bruce Pearl is greater than Butch Thompson. When you have coaches like Bruce and Butch doing what they're doing in the other 2 main men's sports, does that increase the pressure on the other men's sports coach on campus, Hugh Freeze at Auburn?
Well, I think it should because, look, Auburn's had a great athletic program for a long time, but when you think Auburn sports, I mean, what really does come to the forefront is Auburn football, right?
Well, it's supposed to be, but it's Auburn basketball
right now. It's Auburn basketball, but
I
historically,
get that. But historically, it is a football program, and now because you have an elite coach in Bruce Pearl, it's become a basketball program, and obviously Butch is doing a great job with the baseball program. But yeah, that to me that magnifies when you are the least successful of the 3, and it's not even close. That's a problem.
So let me ask the reverse question to try to answer your question. If Auburn basketball was still in the Tony Barbie era and Auburn baseball was still kind of lost in the wilderness, would 8 wins be acceptable for Auburn football?
It wouldn't be acceptable, but I do think that if the others are going to the Final Four, then it's like, man, why we spend more money. We got everything we need. We're giving Hugh everything he wants. The NIL is in line. If he wants it, he's got it. The facility is, it's one of the best. Our fan support's never questioned. Why can't he do it? If Bruce can do it, if Butch can do it, why can't he do it? Bruce has to do it with a harder scenario than Hugh does. Butch has to do it with a harder scenario than both Bruce and Hugh has to do it. Why can't you do it?
Your scenario, Cohen would be out.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I don't see them as a 1-to-1. I really don't. I don't see them as directly proportional. That because this program has success or this program has success, it puts pressure on your primary program. I think your pressure is always on your primary program, and I don't know how much you ratchet. I tell you the thing that ratchets up pressure more on the Auburn coach than Bruce Pearl or
Butch
Thompson being successful is the Alabama head coach being successful. That's the real pressure point.
I mean,
the opposite is true too for the Alabama head coach. If Auburn is ultra successful and they struggle, that's where the real pressure point is.
And that's something, Malzahn, we laugh, 4 or 5 loss coach, but he did a really good job of when this dominance was going on across the state of at least having them relevant every couple of years or so.
13, 17, and 19
I'll tell you,
big runs.
If Hugh gets this thing set, though, Auburn, when you talk about the big three, I mean, it's a top 10 overall program when you talk about the big three if Hugh can somehow get this to the next level.
Almost nobody gets those three good at the same time, which is a weird phenomenon in college sports. But, I mean, back to my point, the reason Nick Saban was the head coach, and Tommy Tuberville jokes about this, but he's 100% right. The reason Nick Saban was the head coach at Alabama is Tommy Tuberville. Now, it might not have, been Nick Saban. It was almost Rich Rodriguez. It was going to be somebody different, but that was because of Tommy Tuberville. And the reason...
How do you explain Brian Horson?
Hang on. The reason that Gene Chizik, Gus Malzahn, Brian Harsin, and now Hugh Freeze were the coaches at Auburn was Nick Saban and his success. And Auburn was constantly trying to find a guy that could get to that success. And I think Hugh Freeze is actually the greatest example of that because he's primarily the Auburn coach because he did have success against Nick Saban. So I think that's actually what drives up the pressure on the Auburn football coach more so than success within his own athletic department.
I have a really strong belief on this. I'd love to hear what you think. The fact that John Cohen, the athletic director, is a former successful baseball coach at Mississippi State and other places, different than some ADs who are more business guys. Does that help or hurt Hugh Freeze?
I think it helps. Yeah.
Tell me why.
Well, because I think you're a little more sympathetic when you have done what others are doing and you realize how difficult the job is. If it's pure, dollars and cents, it is so black and white. And, okay, we look at this. You don't get to 8 wins this year. You're gone. I think Cohen looks at it a little bit differently. Like, is this team improving? Does he still have his team together? What's the culture like? There are other factors he's really taking in.
See, I agree 100%. It helps you until it hurts you. He understands where the roster was as being a former coach. He can look at things other than the win column of a business guy and say, okay, I can see that he's recruiting good talent. I can see that he's evaluating talent the right way. But also, when it becomes time for a coach that is struggling, that starts shuffling BS, he's a former coach who can also...
He can sniff that out.
Can smell the BS.
Yeah.
And some business guys may not be able to do that. The business ADs may not be able to do that. But as a former elite coach, I think John Cohen can see, okay, players are bought in. He said this in the Chris Lowe story at ESPN.com. Players are bought in. Recruiting is going good. We still got good talent coming in. He's evaluating good talent. Okay, no bowl game. I'm willing to be patient. But at some point, he'll also be able to see the BS. If there's BS that's being shoveled by the coach. And that'll be, I like having, not always great, but I like having in this situation a former elite coach as the athletic director.
Yeah, I think you would prefer it not be in your sport, though. Wouldn't you?
Well, this is a baseball guy.
Yeah. But I'm talking about his relation to Hugh Freeze and John Cohen. And the example I would give is apparently Barry Alvarez was notoriously difficult to be a football coach for.
Yeah.
When he was the athletics director at Wisconsin.
Well, I think certain people are going to be hard to be around regardless. I would
I
imagine
agree.
if Barry Alvarez was hard to be around as an athletic director, I bet he was hard to be around as a head coach.
Yeah, I think Alvarez was one of those, hey, this is the way I did it. This is the way you should do it.
Yeah, and it, they had a lot of coaching turnover under Alvarez, and reportedly it was because Alvarez was so difficult to work for as a head football coach.
Fulmer wasn't good as an AD at Tennessee.
I guess not. I mean,
in football, I'm talking about in football.
Yeah.
He was hard. He was hard to.
You think he was hard to work for?
Yeah.
Ray Tanner?
Yeah, Ray Tanner, I don't know if he was difficult for baseball coaches to work for. They haven't really haven't
been as good since.
Yeah, the success that he has.
I mean, way back in the day, like Bear Bryant, do you think he really cared about the other sports? I could be wrong.
I don't.
I think he helped when he could, but I got to do football first.
Yeah. Well, Wimp tells us the story of him sitting on the bench at one of their games.
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, he got to go to New York.
Yeah, it was him and his
Bear
team.
like to get after it.
They had to drag him to the game.
Can only do so much in Northport.
Yeah, Madison Square Garden, NIT. Yeah,
I think I would rather. I mean, I don't know. I think I'd rather have this day and age the businessman as the AD. But if I'm going to have a former coach, I just don't want it to be in my sport. I don't want to work for a guy that was the legendary coach in my sport. Like, I don't know. I mean, Jim, you would remember this a lot better. Well, I mean, there's no way of predicting this. Do you think it was going to be a good situation, Ray Perkins working for Bear Bryant? I think that was going to be a tough deal for Ray Perkins.
Well, I mean, Ray played for him, but I don't think Ray was Coach Bryant's first choice. So,
who was?
Yeah, I think he wanted Gene Stallings.
Even back then, was Stallings?
I think at that time he was with the Arizona Cardinals or the St. Louis Cardinals.
So
I don't remember exactly.
Can you imagine if this was an old school scenario and Nick Saban was the AD and Kalen DeBoer was working for him?
I think it would be near impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, a lot of people talked about Saban being AD, which I always thought was absurd. I don't think he was going to take over the headaches that Greg Byrne has after being a college football coach. But
there are some people who say he should be the commissioner of college football.
I think also absurd. Now you've got everybody's headaches.
Yeah,
you don't just have Alabama's headaches.
Yeah.
You got everybody. So, I don't think you were ever going to see that, Lance. But it is weird that back in the day, that was Bo Schembechler became the Michigan AD, and it really hit ahead in basketball more than it did in football because that was the whole Steve Fisher deal.
Steve Fisher.
When he said Michigan is going to be coached by a Michigan man, and Steve Fisher had already taken...
Bill Frieder had taken
the
Arizona State job.
That's right. That's how Steve Fisher got the job.
And Frieder was like, I'll coach to the tournament. He's like, no, you won't. Brought Steve Fisher in. Wins a national
Michigan will be
championship.
coached by a Michigan man, and Frieder had already taken the Arizona State job, so it came to more of a head.
But that
in
was
basketball.
more so, hey, look, we need to get this guy more money, and in order to get him more money, we're going to give him another title.
Yeah. With the old school athletic directors who were coaching football and being the athletic director, that's what everybody did back in the day. And you had your budget for basketball,
and
had
it probably
budget for women's basketball.
But bigger budget for football.
But no exaggeration. Would you not say, hey, look, the board gets together. We got to give him more money. Let's get creative. Let's make him the AD. And with that AD title, we'll give you another $100,000.
No, that's what it was. Also, what you were able to do back then was, I tell you what, we need a scholarship from your basketball program for this football player. You used to be able to do that back in the day.
Oh, really?
Or from baseball. I need that I got a tight end I want to bring in. Also plays a little first base. So we're going to need him to get a scholarship.
Is he a good
offer.
hitter?
Yeah.
Doesn't hit the curve.
He's a hell of a tight end, though.
Doesn't hit the curve real well.
Hell of a
but
tight
we
end,
throw it to him in the red zone for sure.
Yeah, it is different. Like Dave Winfield playing all three sports at Minnesota.
I know. No, I mean, it just showed. I mean, the AD's job was so different back then, though, right, Jim? I mean,
totally different. You had my buddy Finest Gaston was a guy back in the day that ran the books.
Yeah.
I don't know if he went all the way back to Coach Bryant, but there was somebody like Finest who ran the books of the athletic department, and somebody else was the athletic director. But when it came to the dollars and the cents and making a profit and paying the bills, there was a business side to it all that was someone that was not that one title. That now you get guys that sort of do it all. And they're more front-facing, some of the business guys. Interesting times there. It's fun to watch what Auburn's doing tonight. We'll see that game, last of a quadruple header. Baseball underway now with Arizona and North Carolina and that great pitcher LT's talking about.
And by the way, did you see what that score is?
No, what is it?
So Jake Knapp is the guy. I just had to do a little back. So he's one of 5 finalists for Player of the Year. He's already won the ACC Player of the Year. He's 13-0, gives up 2 hits and a 1 spot in the top of the first.
Oh, all right.
But they come back. They're now up 2-1 in the bottom of the first, 2 on, no out. So they're about to pile on. But if you've got minus 330 and you already see your guys giving up a 1 spot in the top, you're panicked. But it looks like North Carolina's settling in.
One more thing to do this segment after LT tells us about our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
205-969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, the absolute best in the business. I've got the 2015 vision, better than 2020. Got the procedure done back in 2003. Make the phone call that I made. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, Oklahoma is our preview team today, number 23 in our 40 and 40 rankings, voted on by you guys leading into the start of the college football season. That means we've only got 22 shows left until SEC Media Days coming up. Taylor Korn, social media, Forrester put together an FPI of all the SEC teams from the ESPN FPI. Here's the way that graphic looks. Chance to make the college football playoffs at 83.9% from Texas, all the way down to 0.7% from Mississippi State, everything in between. If I asked you guys the best value play, Oklahoma 18.4% to make the playoffs, behind Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, LSU, Auburn, and South Carolina. 9 teams before you get to Oklahoma there, just ahead of Florida. How deep do you go on the biggest long shot to make the playoffs? Is it Oklahoma for you, Lance?
It's LSU. I mean, Oklahoma, again, I kind of contradicting how I typically do my top 25, because I go in, I try to factor teams that are obviously top 25 quality, but what that's going to look like at the end of the year. I do think Oklahoma is one of the 15 best teams in football. I don't know if the record will reflect it. I would go with LSU, a 30% chance. I think you're getting a lot of value with the Tigers. I think this is a, put up or shut up kind of year for Brian Kelly.
I would go as deep as Florida, Jim. I can make a case for Florida making the college football playoff.
Ooh, and isn't Florida's schedule just as tough as Oklahoma?
It's as bad as Oklahoma's, absolutely.
Look, you've got unknowns at quarterback, because Lagway, how healthy is he going to be, and his Mateer, is it going to translate coming from Washington State to the SEC?
Yeah, I like Florida with Lagway. I don't know that he's going to be the best quarterback in the SEC, but at 14.5%, so I don't know what kind of betting odds that would be, 14.5%. But just to make the college football playoff, I think Florida and Oklahoma's schedule is challenging enough that they could make it with 3 losses. I would need a 3-loss Florida team, probably.
This is one of the weirdest years going into the season I've ever seen in the SEC, because we truly do have parity. A lot of people are just betting on Texas, which obviously in year 2 they've never won an SEC championship. But how many different people that are involved in college football doing their top quarterbacks out of this league have the same quarterback at number 1? Everybody's all over the place.
They are. It's crazy. In fact, this is funny. Yesterday I was having to handle a customer service situation over the phone, and the lady knew I was in Birmingham, right? And I've come to find out she's an Alabama fan. I'll tell you how I figured it out. But I didn't know at first. And she's like, as she's filling time, she's going, now tell me this, who's the best quarterback in the SEC this year? And I just laughed, and I said, that's a great question. I said, some would say Arch Manning, but this kid's never even had a significant start. Some would say Garrett Nussmeier. And I said, it's a weird year in the SEC because there's no obvious guy.
And did she answer all your comments with Roll Tide?
No. She said, I'll tell you who the cutest one is, Ty Simpson. And I was like, okay, well, I know who you're a fan of now. She goes, I just tell you, he's cute. I haven't looked at Ty. I don't know if Ty's cute or not. But, I mean, to your point, there's just no real obvious number 1. It's a weird year for quarterback in the SEC.
It's a weird time for Auburn football. We talked about it earlier on Hugh Freeze, and Kyle Rush and I discussed this in the Button Up podcast this morning on our platform, thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. You can go check it out. Whether they go to 8 or 9 next year, it doesn't matter as far as the SEC schedule. This is Hugh Freeze's best chance as far as a path to the playoffs than it will be next year, because you flip the schedules again next year. Let's just say it's 8. You keep Alabama and Georgia These teams come onto your schedule next year.
Okay.
Now, you got Alabama and Georgia as your rivals. So you only take teams that aren't on your schedule the last 2 years. Now you flip around, you play them. Texas, pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tough game.
Yep.
LSU,
tough game.
Pretty good. Tennessee.
So all these are on?
Yeah, because they're not on Auburn's schedule this year, right? Auburn doesn't play Tennessee this year.
No. Okay.
They don't play LSU this year.
Keep going.
You know what? You're gonna
check me. I don't think they play.
Well, no. What you're going to get every year is somebody that has an Oklahoma / Florida schedule every year in the SEC.
Okay. All right.
And it's about to be Auburn.
Yeah.
Because they get Alabama, Georgia, Texas, they get LSU, they get Tennessee, they get Ole Miss, they get Florida, and they get South Carolina.
And that's going to be, what year is that?
That's next year.
Okay, well, already Georgia and Alabama are on the road. So give me your best case other two on the road in that.
The easiest two road games at that point would be South Carolina and either Florida or Ole Miss.
And by the way, Florida and South Carolina are not easy road games. I know you said that'd be the easiest, but those are not easy.
So that would put your home schedule of Texas, LSU,
Boy,
Tennessee, and Ole Miss.
Man, when you bring in this,
am I wrong about
that's a heck of a home
I don't know
schedule,
if that is the schedule, though.
I mean, that's got to be it.
This Hugh Freeze thing got real
quick.
Yeah, it really did, because going into year 3, we've talked about from 6 to 5 wins. Don't know what that number is, but even if you go 8-4, what is the expectation in year 4 with that schedule?
I mean, pull up Auburn's schedule again, Forrester. This is the schedule this year. Just go down. Okay, there's Oklahoma. Take that off, put Texas in. There's Texas A&M. Take that off, put LSU in. Georgia stays. Take Missouri off and put South Carolina in. Auburn at Arkansas. Take Arkansas off and put Ole Miss in. There's Kentucky. I guess you can throw Mississippi State in there. Mississippi State's an option. They're not on there. There's Vanderbilt that's on there.
Yeah,
Vanderbilt for Tennessee.
Yeah, our Stu's asked about Mississippi State, so there's the other one.
Yeah. So you got to throw Mississippi State in there. You got to give them Mississippi State next year.
Yeah.
What are Auburn's out of conference?
Just Baylor. Baylor at home. Well, I shouldn't say just Baylor. They play the Jacksonville State University Gamecocks as well.
Okay, but Baylor at home becomes one of your easy. Yeah.
So I'm just
Easiest.
saying, good year for Hugh to have a good year.
Yeah, you better, because if
good time to have a good time.
Yeah, if you get a chunk of that schedule you just laid out right there, that's a haul.
Well, there's no way around not getting a chunk of it. Now
I know.
you may get Mississippi State in there,
but you're probably going to catch.
You're going to get 7 of the 8 I named.
Yeah.
Well, and if Hugh doesn't have a good year this year, then you're going to reset it head coach against that schedule. So, when is the next really good year for the Auburn Tigers?
Yeah, you don't want to reset on that schedule.
Yeah, just a little observation we talked about on the Button Up podcast.
I had not thought of that.
Yeah, insanity.
5-1 North Carolina, by the way.
Yeah, working out good for them. Gutter Cap brings you part of the show. Gutter Cap gets us to break here. Trash coming up on the other side.
Yeah, 205-823-2212. The weekend is here. The last thing you want to do after a long, hard work week is the chores around the house, especially the dirty, dangerous ones, like cleaning the gutters. Cap it, don't snap it. You get that ladder out, you get on the roof, you slip, you fall, you snap the neck and die. No good to the wife or kids. 205-823-2212. Ask for Chris Stewart. Tell him the next round sent you. They're going to hook you up with an absolutely free consultation. You got nothing to lose to let Gutter Cap come out and check everything out. Absolutely free estimate. 205-823-2212. GutterCapBirmingham.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation states that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between 2 warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
It's go time, Birmingham. Your Stallions are charging into the USFL Conference Championship. Sunday, June 8th at 2 o'clock at Protective Stadium. Don't miss the three-time champs as they battle the Michigan Panthers for a shot at the UFL title. Rally the squad and get loud because Birmingham doesn't back down when it's all on the line. Get your tickets now at UFLStallions.com and let's pack Protective. It's all Sunday at 2 o'clock. Get your tickets now, UFLStallions.com.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the next round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the next round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Hey, you. Days warming up. Looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham. We got now.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken. There's no off-season at CoverCrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at CoverCrimson.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Before we get to trash, our buddies at Company Distilling, now in Alabama, ABC stores all over the state. We got a chance to sample some of the product here recently. Fantastic stuff. Tell us about Company and what they bring to the state.
Yeah, good chance I'll have a little bit of that rye 100 proof. They've got 3 different variations, though, available right now. And it is at the ABC stores across the state of Alabama. If you've been waiting to try a whiskey that is as good as the company you keep, this is your moment. Find your bottle. Learn more at CompanyDistilling.com/Alabama must be 21 or older. Please enjoy responsibly. You can find it not only in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, South Carolina, 9 states. Company Distilling is worth the pour. If you can't find it on the shelf, just ask your local store to order it in. Spirits this good deserve to be shared. Again, for more information on Company Distilling, CompanyDistilling.com/Alabama.
Okay, we're about to ask you about the chance to go unbeaten in college football this year, the best bet you would play. Here's Steve Sarkisian at the SEC meetings in Destin saying he doesn't believe we'll ever have another undefeated national champion.
Now more than ever, the length of the season, last year we played 16 games and that was just to get to the semifinals. We would have been 17, right, to win a championship. And so the idea, I think we've all got to wrap our brain around. I don't know if we'll ever see an undefeated national champion again. If we do, that's a really good team because it's just so difficult. And it's difficult, yes, because of the quality of the opponents you play, but it's so difficult to stay healthy that long. I mean, you're going to have teams in years like we had last year where you lose your starting quarterback. And how do you respond to your quarterback being down? Or you lose both your left tackles. That happened to us last year. Or your left tackle, then your right tackle. And do you have the depth to endure? And so I think you're going to see teams more and more now, 2 losses, 3 losses, maybe even 4 losses that get in. Not very different than the NCAA baseball tournament of what that looks like. I looked at Vanderbilt, I think, as the number 1 seed. There was a point in the season, they were 11-10. And now they're the number 1 seed in the baseball tournament. And so I don't know, and we kind of saw it in basketball this year with Florida and them winning the national title. This idea of somebody's going to go 16-0 in college football, man, put a statue up somewhere of that team, because I just don't know if that's going to happen again.
Okay, now there are odds at DraftKings on going unbeaten. Ohio State and Notre Dame were plus 400 at the time of this article at Saturday Down South. Oregon, who we just talked about, had a massive injury at wide receiver, was plus 425. Penn State was plus 450. Those are your best odds. How many SEC teams did I just name there?
Oh, that's 0.
Yeah,
I understand why.
You look at the schedule, everybody's got at least 2 really, really difficult games where they're more than likely underdogs in it.
And then an SEC championship game.
I think your best chance would be Notre Dame. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's almost a 0% chance that anybody goes undefeated, because I think Notre Dame can do it in the regular season.
And then you don't have to play a conference championship game, which helps them.
But then you still would have to navigate much more difficult games because Notre Dame's got at Miami, where they're going to be a slight favorite, at Arkansas. They've got A&M and USC and Boise at home. I mean, it all adds up where they're games where Notre Dame seems to be slightly better than all these teams. But when you're playing like teams 6 or 7 times, one of those is going to catch up.
Now, if you let me do regular season,
that's what these odds are. By the way, is just regular season.
I would take Notre Dame if I just did regular season.
I would like Notre Dame, and I would like Clemson. And I know your immediate with Clemson is going to be, they host LSU week 1, and I do know that. And LSU has been bad in these games.
Yeah,
recently.
I backed that up. I might actually take Clemson over Notre Dame regular season.
But if
plus
I can
550 for Clemson.
If I can get Clemson past LSU, which is a huge if, I get that. If I can get them past LSU, then I really feel good about Clemson at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bad part about it is if you took Clemson there, week 1 might be your biggest challenge.
Well, outside of I'll throw Georgia Tech in there. Georgia Tech, Louisville, and South Carolina, they might be double-digit favorites in every game outside of those 3.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, Penn State, the best odds go unbeaten with the 12 regular season games. Then Texas at plus 500, Georgia at plus 550, Bama at plus 550, Clemson at plus 550, then Boise State at plus 800, big jump there. Then Miami, Kansas State, Ole Miss at plus 11,100, Arizona State, Michigan, LSU at plus 1,400, BYU, who you like as well, plus 1,400, down through the list there. The guys at Saturday Down South, Penn State would be one of their bets. Alabama would be one of their bets. And their other bet would be Clemson.
Pretty crazy that I can get Alabama and Clemson for the same price as what you told me?
Yeah, plus 550.
You find that a little bit surprising?
Yeah.
I mean, that's considerably different schedule.
Because, I'm just – if you gave Clemson Alabama schedule astronomical odds.
You would not feel –
I would not like that, no.
Interesting. A lot of love for Alabama during the offseason here with those. And sort of with Sark, I don't think we'll see. I mean, 12-0 is different. Those odds are 12-0. But to be an undefeated national champion.
You scoffed at it when I brought it up.
No, 12-0 is one thing. 17-0, we'll get one somewhere, but it's hard to imagine what that team would look like.
Okay. So I brought it up when he said it. You scoffed at it.
I don't.
The New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Where did you guys so I was on with our friends Chip and Zay yesterday. Where did you guys have Sark on your top 5 coaches in the SEC?
That we gave to Taylor?
Yeah, because I told them, because, they were like, what is your deal with Sark? And I said, you can't argue 1, 2, or 3. If you want to flip, I had Heupel at 4 and Sark at 5, and I said it was really close. I just think degree of difficulty for Heupel right now a little bit more. I said, if you want to flip those, fine, but there is no way you can put Sark in front of Kirby Smart, Kalen DeBoer, or Brian Kelly.
I had him 3rd. I had him in front of Brian Kelly.
Sark, I had him, I want to say 2.
But I was doing this, and this is always the difficulty with ranking coaches. Do I do career achievement or I do this moment in time? In this moment in time, Brian Kelly's taking on a little bit of water.
Oh, yeah, I would agree.
And Sark is probably doing his best coaching ever at this moment in
Yeah,
time.
I'm just talking about accomplished coaches.
Yeah.
And I still, I'm not sleeping on Brian Kelly or Kalen. I mean, Kalen DeBoer to take over, people can say it was one of the easiest takeovers. To me, it was one of the more difficult takeovers.
I was trying to look. It's been so long ago, I can't remember. Well, here we go.
You love Sark.
Nope.
You probably had him too.
I think that's why I said it.
Yeah.
I think I had him number 2, but I cannot remember what my list was there. All right, that gets us to trash today. Before we get into trash, I'll tell you about our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champyschicken.com. Highway 119 in Alabaster, your chance to jump in there and enjoy the great tasting Southern fried chicken that is brined overnight and cooked to order. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. What have I not told you about this week about Champy's? Okay, same location for over a decade on Highway 119. Customer service through the roof. Unbelievable happy hour every day after work. It's a great destination lunch location no matter where you live in town. Some of you are leaving to go to the beach right now. How about this? Going to or coming back just off I-65 in Alabaster. You can jump off there and you'll get to 119. So good. So good to go by there and see Sterling and the crew. And don't forget the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It is champyschicken.com. Let's do trash.
Any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And pretty soon we're going to be calling this country.
LT's Trash is presented by Bud Light.
I love that wearing seatbelts when you're driving is the pathway to communism.
Yeah, did you even hear that?
I was alive when most of the cars I rode in as a child didn't even have them, or they were cut out. My grandmother hated.
I think it was yesterday when I was talking to Brown about this, because I sent you another one of those PSAs. You could do a show on old school PSAs and advertisements.
Stuff they used to warn you about.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light, whether you're heading to the lake, beach, pool, all weekend long, pick up some delicious Bud Light. So, Tyler, it looks like 3 weeks ago when you had the 10 inmates bust out of the Orleans Parish Justice Center, 8 have been taken back into custody. Only 2 are out there. You and I both have our picks still alive,
But
right?
Tyler's got the guy that's popping out Instagram videos, so he can't last much longer.
Yeah, Lance's guy is like a cold-blooded killer,
Yeah.
and then my guy is putting the whole system on trial.
That's right. Yeah. So your guy is way too interested in proving his innocence, which is going to get him back in jail. Lance's guy is off the radar completely.
Which is really scary. He has completely disappeared. My guy, Derek Groves, your guy, Antoine Massey. It's been more than a week since the last escapee's arrest. Search for the last 2 has proven to be harder than the search for the others. Now, according to Chuck Jordan, who is the president of the National Association of Fugitive Recovery Agents, quote, if they're not caught within the first couple of days or so, they manage to make it out of the area and get someone to help them, there's a decent chance they can stay on the run for several months. Now, the first 5 were caught not too far from jail. Jordan says that's an indicator there probably wasn't much planning. Went on to say, quote, I think it was more of an opportunistic escape. I don't think there was a whole lot of planning, at least not by the whole 10 that were involved. But now time is ticking. Law enforcement agents thought they were closing in on one of them after the video was posted of Tyler's guy, Massey. In it, he was claiming his innocence. They said the clothes the man was wearing in the video were left behind, though Jordan says Massey is probably not far, but notes that Groves could be anywhere. Antoine posted another video on Instagram as well. In the post, the user claims to be Massey, declares his innocence, while tagging Fox 8 and other news outlets on it.
Well, I mean, it's like a game of tag, right? Or hide and go seek. If I'm going this way, you can't go this way too. I used to get mad when we'd play in the backyard.
Oh, yeah.
Like if I'm running to hide in the pipe down by the creek, you can't run down here and hide in the pipe by the creek.
That's right.
You got to go a different direction. Go somewhere else.
You go hide by the cows over there in the pasture. I'm in the pipe down by the creek. Is that what you say to him?
That's exactly what I would say.
Don't burn any ends. The creek.
Yeah.
I was with a couple of individuals from the Mud Puddle yesterday. We're talking about you, Dunaway.
Good.
Cockatoos in Sydney have worked out how to operate drinking
You remember
fountains.
that was the name of the men's club that was... Where was Yankton, South Dakota? You guys remember when I went to... what's the name of the town? I went to Monowai, Nebraska, and I had to stay in Yankton because it was the closest hotel. And near the hotel, there was a gentleman's club called the Cockatoo, which is a great name for a gentleman's club.
Yeah, it seemed like it'd be the other way around for where women go watch men's streets.
Yeah.
So this is what was the infamous place in Atlanta? Swinging Richards.
Yeah, it was Swinging Richards. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, footage showing the white birds gripping and turning the handle before leaning in for a sip. Researchers set up camera traps and recorded the birds taking turns at drinking fountain water. In western Sydney, scientists observed more than 500 attempts over 44 days and revealed, what do you think the bird success rate on sipping out of this fountain is?
I'm going to say they were 0 for 8. They were like the Braves in an inning.
Actually, 46% of the time they were able to do it.
That's pretty good, actually. This one right here's figured it out.
I tried to read through this morning, Tyler. It was so boring, though. No offense.
Wait, is there no more cockatoo jokes here?
I mean, you guys can line them up if you want. I mean, what else was exciting about this, Tyler?
Britney
Help me
Spears'
out.
favorite bird?
What?
A cockatoo?
Wow.
I think you added a vowel or two.
There was an in there.
Oh, no, it was not.
Yes, there was.
Okay, you guys have heard of the world's smallest violin. Isn't this the way?
That's right.
People play it like this, right?
Yeah, it's me playing the world's smallest violin.
Is this a real thing or not? Do you think it is?
The world's smallest violin?
There is a world's smallest violin.
British.
It's about that size, I think.
Oh, is it?
British scientists have created the world's smallest violin inside of human hair. Now, physicists at the Loughborough University use cutting-edge nanotechnology to create the minuscule fiddle. Now, the violin is made of platinum, measures just 35 microns long and 13 microns wide, with a micron being 1/1,000,000th of a meter. It is so tiny it fits into the width of a single human hair. Human hair typically ranges from 17 to 180 microns in diameter. Miniature violin was created as a test project to demonstrate the capabilities of the university's new nanolithography system.
But does it make a sound?
I'll get there. Now, the machine can build and study the tiniest structures to see how materials behave at the smallest scales. Now, the system will support a variety of research projects aimed at identifying new materials and methods of developing the next generations of computing devices. Now, Professor Kelly Morris, head of physics, said, quote, "Though creating the world's smallest violin may seem like fun and games, a lot of what we learned in the process has actually laid the groundwork for the research we're now undertaking." To answer your question, though, I really don't know.
Let's go. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Because if it's the world's smallest violin, it's going to be the world's smallest violin string, too, at that point, for it to actually make a sound.
They say the university's violin is a microscopic image rather than a playable instrument.
Okay, so that's no sound.
Nano-sculpting machine used thermal scanning probe. Lithography, which is a technique where a heated needle tip writes highly precise patterns. Works similarly to screen printing on a T-shirt.
My oldest daughter actually played the
It's
violin.
a little misleading, to be honest.
Yeah, my oldest daughter played the violin when she was a kid, and when you went to the recitals, all the kids play either Hot Cross Buns or Orange Blossom Special. They'd be like, "Up next is Jim Dunaway playing Hot Cross Buns."
I like the Orange Blossom Special.
I can't remember how that one goes.
Well, they busted that out in Urban Cowboy.
This is probably not to that level. Bunch of kids playing it, but everybody played the same two songs. Those.
We're gonna get back to the Charlie Daniels Band and the Orange Blossom Special.
I would love it if one of them played "Devil Went Down to Georgia."
Hot Cross Buns is what they used to teach everybody to play on that little plastic $5 recorder in music class.
Things are awful.
They sound terrible.
I never
even
understood.
if you play it correctly.
Yeah, I know. You couldn't make an actual pitch out of one of those. It was all flat or something. I don't know anything about music.
It sounded bad. I don't know what the technical term is.
There's a shocking video now, fellas, that claims that they have captured Bigfoot.
I bet it's not real clear and decisive.
Now, a mysterious figure was captured roaming the woods in Colorado, sparking theories that the elusive Bigfoot has finally been found. Could this be my man Groves, Garrett Groves?
It could be. All right, so we've got the video. Oh, I see him hide behind the tree. Yeah, that's exactly how that's going to go right there.
He's wearing your Supreme hoodie that you're wearing today, Tyler.
Clearly not a guy in a costume.
We could put Melton in what are those? Is it a ghillie suit?
Ghillie suit.
A ghillie suit.
Yeah.
We put Melton in one of those, send him out in the wild.
I mean, do people really believe this stuff?
I told you about
my
your
neighbors. I forgot they would love this video.
So this is a whitewater rafting crew with the Colorado River Expedition was traveling down the upper Colorado River May 24th when they pulled ashore for a little break. Logan Kirk, the lead guide, told DailyMail.com that he and about 12 others had stopped for lunch when they spotted the creature roughly 500 yards away. Quote, someone yelled out that they saw a bear, so we started looking at it, and that's when we realized, hey, something else. Wasn't a bear. Was standing up there on the hillside. It was definitely bipedal, which really stood out to us. Bipedal, I guess, means upright.
Yeah, walking on two instead of four.
Yeah. Why are we using that word, though, bipedal?
The video, which has been viewed millions of times online, shows that large furry figure walking through dense pine trees, stops in between two trees, appears to stare directly at the camera, and then vanishes into the wood. While many commentators are thrilled at the idea that Bigfoot may have been found, others believe it is either a person in a suit or a bear walking on two legs.
I'm going to go person in a suit.
I'm going to go person in suit, too.
Or a bear walking on two legs.
See, that doesn't even look like a bear to me. That looks more like a
person in a suit. Yes, 100%
now, here is a great universal question. Why is it always the same type of blurry, faraway footage of Bigfoot?
Exactly.
Nobody ever gets a good shot.
Nope.
There was the Patterson footage in the 60s where Bigfoot's walk. It's the side profile of
I remember,
Bigfoot,
yeah.
and he just looks right at the camera.
Yeah, it's almost like he's posing.
Yeah.
Super blurry, though. Yeah. I mean, almost everything gets caught on camera now. If there were an actual Bigfoot, which there's not, but if there were, you would have a great close-up, crisp photo of him.
Yeah,
closer
or like
closer
a selfie
to
view as well.
Yeah.
Closer to a lost gorilla to me than a bear.
Maybe so. Now, the question always becomes, why were they videoing right there? Why?
Yeah.
Well, they saw it. They were having their trail mix on the side of the road and their pre-made sandwiches, and then saw the bear, and ends up it's not a bear.
So let me ask you this.
Is that bipedal?
If bipedal starts running downhill full speed.
Oh, I'm dropping the trail mix and starting to pedal. I'm going to do both my pedals.
I'm full pedal at that point.
Yeah, that is Trash Today. Show brought to you by our friends at Champies. A couple more things. Forster found all of our coaches' rankings that Taylor has released at Next Round Live. Did I have Sark second? Forster, drop mine up there for me real quick. Did I have Sark at number 2? Did I remember it correctly? I did. Kirby, Sark, DeBoer, Heupel, and Brian Kelly for me.
This is where people point out DeBoer's head-to-head against Sark.
Yeah. Some people pointed out, what has DeBoer done to be there?
Much
Why is
more
Heupel there?
I mean, you guys will give
Kelly
me DeBoer
there?
is more accomplished than Sark.
I would give you that, yes.
I mean, yeah, one season. Both. Well, one went to a finals, one went to a semifinals.
Yeah, one coach for a national championship.
Yeah, and one did beat the other.
Yeah.
And then you look at what Brian Kelly was able to do at Notre Dame. Hasn't been the best result so far at LSU, but he's more accomplished than Sark.
Yeah. You got Lance's right there. Kirby, DeBoer, Kelly, Heupel, and Sarkisian there. Same 5 different order. And
and I brought this point up yesterday. If Sark doesn't move up on this list, how disappointing of a season is it?
Massively.
I'm just talking about my list.
Yeah.
Because if you don't jump Heupel probably is going to take a little bit of a step back this year with that quarterback situation.
Yeah, but they could still be a playoff team and only jump one spot for Sark on your list.
If
Kelly, Kirby, DeBoer, and Kelly.
But I'm saying he's got to go up.
Where's Brown's list? Right there? Is that it? Yeah.
That's me.
Kirby, DeBoer, Sark, Kelly, Lane Kiffin makes the top 5. Who do you not have in there? You don't have Heupel at all.
I don't have Heupel at all.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin in there at number 5.
Yeah, the guy that's never made the playoff versus the guy that has. Is that what you're telling me? I'm putting a guy that's never made the playoff.
That not there. Hey, that Madden movie that's coming out We have new images from Nicolas Cage as Madden walking back and forth on the set.
This can't be good.
It's not bad.
It's better than the initial one we saw.
It's a lot better than I would have thought.
Better than the initial. Now, again.
But his mannerisms, well, Madden had his own, but Nick Cage, even in great roles that are unique, he still got the Nick Cage mannerisms, and I just don't know how that's going to play with John Madden.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that.
I don't have a huge expectation for this movie, though.
I don't think I'll even watch it. I mean,
Tyler will. Tyler will tell us.
Tyler watches everything.
It'll open on a Friday, and he'll tell us about it on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Does it interest you, Jim? Like the story of this movie?
I don't even know what we're doing. Is it John Madden's story?
I don't know. Or is it he and Al Davis?
So Al Davis is portrayed by Christian Bale,
who looks just like Al Davis.
And I do trust the fact that Christian Bale will be all in.
You didn't think so?
In the first photo shot,
the first one we saw,
But the ones moving around the set, when these were taken, I saw it was so bad I didn't even use them.
Yeah.
I didn't think Bale looked as the part as much.
So do you know the storyline?
So Christian Bale comes back as American Psycho, and he lops off John Madden's head. It's almost like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
But it's played out in football terms.
Okay, which surprises you more? Jerry Reinsdorf is going to sell the White Sox, or that the UA system, University of Alabama system, approved $14.6 million to improve Bartow Arena? Which surprises you most? Both of those are true stories, by the way.
The Bartow Arena. Yeah.
I had heard this was coming. I have not seen any drawings. Have you seen drawings of this?
I've got no drawings, but they are going to improve. $14.6 million has been approved to entrance lobby expansion, club level lounge and club level seating to enhance viewing experience, replacement of some lower bowl seating with new seating to elevate fan experiences, and concourse improvements, including lighting and upgrading to the bathrooms.
I don't know if you know this. Ironically, it wasn't UAB fans complaining. It was high school graduations around town.
I'm sure it was, because there are plenty of them that go to Bartow.
$14.6 million. But Jerry Reinsdorf is selling, Forrester, his majority stock to the White Sox, most likely, before the 2029 to 2034 season.
Right? Will he be alive then?
So he's selling it.
Yeah, he's 90 years old.
Sorta, he's selling it.
But we're going to wait and do this for 4 years.
So in other words, he's selling it in his will. Somebody's going to get it.
I don't know. In Chicago, it might be one of these blue zones. The Bears owner, the chick, McCaskill or whatever.
Yeah.
She's like 150.
That's true.
We'll see.
She doesn't change. Like her every year, same picture.
Let's see if the Braves can start winning and the Rays can stay hot this weekend. Good luck to Auburn baseball tonight. We will see you at 9 a.m. Central Time on Monday. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.